Hey, I'm back, out fresh on the scene. Franchise best on the team. Blue faces busting out the scene. New life is something like a dream.
Yo, what's going on? We're back. This is Kicking It with Kist. You guys already know me. I'm your host, Kist. And this is my guest today. Lovely guest. Her name's Paulette. I'm honored to have her on, and I'm stoked. So we're going to be talking about some cool stuff today. Maybe some stuff you guys don't know about. Some stuff you guys are trying to get hip to. You guys know me. I'm always curious. My mind's always rolling. So we're going to get into it. I know it's been a while since I've done an episode. I told you guys, though, I was trying to get some new guests on, get some people that you guys haven't heard from. So that's why I'm super stoked as well to have her on. So a new face and a new guest. So without further ado, Paulette, how's it going?
Oh, it's going great. How about you?
I cannot complain. Today, it was actually... it was rainy all day, but after the rain, I was still working around like 3-4 o'clock. I was like, at least it's warmed up a little bit. Mm-hmm. Climbed up into the 50s.
Yeah, right. For the first time, like not having to wear a coat all day and like...
We were just talking about it, that Michigan weather.
Yes.
It's something crazy.
It's nice, though. It's nice to feel spring in the air and there's some... flowers coming up.
You can feel it.
Yeah.
You can feel it. It's exciting, especially when winter. It's like because it's March and it's still snowing, so it's kind of getting old. People are tired of it, but it's gonna make for hopefully it's a nice summer. So not too many hot days. Yeah,
last summer was hot.
Yeah.
Surprisingly hot.
Like I said, I'm not the one for it.
No.
But introduce yourself. Tell the people a little bit about, who you are, where you're from,
Sure. Yeah, so my name is Paulette.
Yes.
I grew up in Michigan, lived for over 10 years in the South in Tennessee.
Nice.
And I just moved back to Michigan maybe going on 2 years ago, a year and a half.
Okay.
I know I'm on here today to talk about yoga, meditation, wellness.
Yeah, so people need to know.
Yeah.
I feel like knowing some of that stuff, knowing about some of that stuff, and having the keys and the tools to actually use it and use it effectively, because it's hard for people. Like, especially just meditating. Like, people are like, oh, I'm going to sit there and close my eyes. It's like, bullshit. It doesn't just work like that. Mm-hmm. But I feel like if you know how to use it, those tools effectively, it's somewhat of a life hack.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's, I remember I have a journal where I don't know how long ago it was, but I have an entry where I'm like, tried to meditate today. When I was like just trying to learn and get into meditation, and in the journal entry, I'm like, didn't work. So
literally,
it's a process.
It's tough to just sit there and clear your mind.
Yeah.
And just go back. And then you sit there, and I've always said that I've always tried to meditate in the morning. Mm-hmm. And then I heard it was a better time to meditate in the morning, just because your mind is clear and whatnot. But even then, you sit down and you close your eyes and you try, and even you might start off, clearing your mind, and then something creeps in.
Yeah,
but you're supposed to, let it flow, let it pass. Mm-hmm. But like I said, that's a whole nother process in itself. So
yeah, no, it's really difficult, especially we have so many things to look at these days. When I was growing up, there weren't really cell phones, and so I've noticed.
Once upon a time.
Right. I know, they're good and they're bad.
It is.
So
trust me, yes.
Yeah,
I feel that's a perfect statement for him.
Yes.
Good and bad.
Good and bad. I didn't get my first iPhone until I was probably maybe like 23 or 24. Mm. And before that, I had cell phones. I had like Motorola. Razors.
The OGs.
And all that.
The Razor, Sidekick, whatnot. I remember still, the slide up phone, everything. It was like, and then boom, it was just like smartphones came.
Yes.
Took over everything.
Mm-hmm. And I remember feeling changes in my brain from, after using us, like from before and after having a smartphone. Like, I started to feel my attention span changing.
Yeah.
You know, you always, like, it's so strange to think about how much time I spend on my phone. A lot of us spend on our phones when even 10 years ago I didn't even have a phone like that.
Yes.
And I'm like, I must have just been, like, great. Like, I can remember, you know, and we were on the laptops and looking at Facebook on the laptop.
Yeah,
or,
it was new,
Yeah.
so everybody was, like, jumping on it. But now it's, like, every kid knows what a cell phone is.
Right.
They have a tablet and whatnot. And it's crazy. And it's younger and younger and younger. And like you said, you can notice the difference in just even your attention span.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
And people don't. I try to talk to it with a friend of mine, and he's like, "Yeah, like I can go. I don't need to be on my phone. Like, I don't need to do like anything like that. Like that controls the apps or anything like that." And I'm like, people say that, but they don't really realize how much they're on their phone.
Right.
Like
I know.
all day.
Yeah.
Like all day.
Until you look at, like, you can look at your screen time and it's like, oh my gosh.
Really?
Yeah.
Hours and hours and hours.
Yeah, and I've been thinking recently about, you know, all these things I want to do or get more into. And I'm like, oh, I never have time. And I'm like, no, I have 5 hours a day,
That's
3
the
hours
time.
a day that I'm on
Yeah.
my phone that I could be using for other things. So,
Yeah.
just, you know, I guess one point to make before we start talking is that even if someone is into, you know, like, I'm a yoga teacher, but I'm still struggling with my screen time. So we're not, you know.
It's tough.
Yeah.
And it's just the world that we live in now. Like you said, because they are good. It's good to have them. They're valuable, whatever it may be. You know, calculators are valuable. You calling and texting, talking to people you care about, you love, learning about important information. But like you said, it's controlling it.
Yeah.
Controlling what you see on there, how much of it you see, monitoring it.
Yeah.
Because it's almost like what they say, like, too much of anything is nothing short of poison, you know?
Yeah.
It's at the end of the day. But
yeah, for sure. And I think the internet in general is great, how it's connected people who might feel different, especially, you know, for whatever reason. Like, they can find communities, even if someone in their physical community, you know, if there's not, like, a space for them in their neighborhood or school. Like, I think it's great that the internet has been able to connect people from far away that have similar, you know, interests, things going on in life. But then it's also,
it's awesome.
Pros and cons.
You love
of the
to see
internet
that,
too, though.
and then it sucks because then, like, you're scrolling, you see that, and then you're scrolling, and then you see some bullshit. You know, someone's like bashing someone about something. Yeah, I'm like, everybody. That's the only bad. It's nice, and then it gives people, though, an opinion and a voice about everything, even stuff that they might not have knowledge of, or people are just talking out of their ass, whatever. But and being opinionated is fine, especially I believe I've always been like a pro freedom. Like, I believe as long as you're not harming anybody, you do how you please, you know. But the internet just gives people and then a lot of, you know, whether it be anonymous or they're just saying all types of crazy stuff, and then just trying to put people down for no reason.
Yeah.
I don't know. It sucks. But like you said, it's nice when you do get to see the stuff on there that you know, other people are doing their part to make other people feel good, as well as trying to spread love, spread joy, you know, and communicate within their community. Yeah. And beyond through social media and whatnot. It's nice to see that. So.
Definitely.
But so we wanted to talk about one of the things today. Obviously, yoga, meditation, they kind of go hand in hand. So, and I know you said that you were certified.
Yes.
And you have been for some time. So what exactly are your certifications? What are they for?
So I have a 200-hour yoga teacher training certificate right now.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's what I hold. So it's actually that's sort of the first one that you do. Yeah. No, it is. It's really cool. I did it in 2016 in Nashville, Tennessee. And it was a really cool studio space. We actually met in this woman's backyard. Her husband and father had built her a yoga studio back there. So it was a enclosed
Sweet.
little studio in her backyard. And
Yeah, her in Nashville too is amazing.
yeah, it is. It's definitely changed and gotten really big. So I haven't lived there for quite a while, but
crazy.
it's yeah, it is. And of course, there was just the tragic school shooting there a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
So that definitely hit close to home. And yeah, that was really, really sad to read about. I mean, anywhere it happens, but
It's just another one of those things. It's just crazy. Like, literally, like you said, I try to stay off. Especially, I have a Snapchat, and Instagram, and a Facebook and whatnot, but I've been doing, like, kind of doing a social media cleanse. And it's tough, though, because I kind of use the social media to communicate for the podcast, too, and whatnot.
Yeah.
But, so I haven't really been on it, and I really don't watch the news. I'm more like, I watch my shows and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And my buddy, when we were driving, working, he was the next morning, he's telling me, he's like, yeah, blah, 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 about it. And I'm like, and it's so crazy now, because now when you hear it, it's just so fucking common. And it shouldn't be.
Yeah.
So when you hear it, it's kind of like, well, it makes you angry, it makes you upset, it makes you sick, like you wonder, and you're like, but it's another one.
Right.
And it's happening, and it's like, okay, it's happened before, like, people are like, but it's just now getting to the point to where it's like, there's got to be something. People got to try to get to the root of the problem. And it's deeper than what people think. And there's multiple, factors that come in, and it's not just, taking away the guns, and it's not just, doing this and having armed people at the school. It's like there's so many things, and there's so many people that have to be involved. Parents and teachers and people of the communities, but something, especially because the way that the kids are suffering from this shit is what kills me the most is just, kids that don't even have a chance to live their life, just going to school, not even expecting anything like that. I told my friend, I said, how do you be a parent,
Right.
And like, do you not tell your kid, about this stuff because you don't want to put fear in them, or do you, like, tell them, like, yeah, you have to be weary of maybe someone, coming to your school and shooting you? Like, it's insane, because I don't remember it being like that when I was in school.
Yeah, no, it wasn't. Yeah, I think, schools definitely tell children they have drills, and so it's good for parents to probably back that up too. And yeah, there are many things that we need to do, banning certain type of guns especially. But yeah, like you said, there's a lot of solutions, a lot of
and it's
a multifaceted approach.
The tough thing is they're never gonna be able to get everybody to agree on what the, like, solution is gonna be. So it's constantly gonna be. But I'm just like, well, at least one thing, like, how is it so easy for these people to get in these schools?
That is a good question.
Especially with guns.
Yeah.
Especially with guns. Like, it's to the point now to where if I'm a parent, I want my kid going to school where I know there's someone there with weapons experience that I know is going to be kind of keeping, not just like the 65-year-old, retired, bodyguard, the security guard that's just driving around, he's half asleep, and the guy that all the high schoolers skip school on him anyways because he's, but, and I get it. Some people are like, well, I don't know if I want, my kid to be, and it's like, you're damned if you do and you're damned if you don't. It's like, it's just it's scary now.
Yeah, it's hard to say how I would feel about that. But yeah, the fact of the matter is, you're right, it's very scary, and it's just hard to know the best thing to do, beyond a ban on those assault type rifles.
Yeah.
That just, are...
What's your output on that, on the banning of the assault rifles?
What's my opinion?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know anything about guns. I've never fired a gun.
Yeah.
It seems like, I know that...
They're cool. They're cool. Like I said, I'm like a very... They're cool, but they're dangerous. Like, people don't understand that it's like... It's not no fucking joke.
Yeah, I would like to know how to defend myself if I ever needed to. I don't know if I want to own a gun, but, I wouldn't mind learning how to use one. It seems that there are types of weapons that are very powerful, that it doesn't, and that's what's being used in a lot of these school shootings.
Yes.
And it doesn't seem as though any civilian, or even, I don't even know, beyond civilian, it doesn't seem like we need these. We need people owning these.
Well, plus too, especially owning them, if they're not in the right mental mind state. Like, one of the things I heard was this guy that shot up the school just recently, that he had been ongoing evaluations, like, for being mentally unstable. Like, I don't know if he was seeing a therapist or whatnot, but it's like, I don't know if someone like that should be buying, assault rifles, whether they're legal, or whatnot. There's got to be some type of way that there could be some tightening up, of the policy.
Yeah, they
do a little bit more homework.
Right. Yeah, I think it's way too easy it seems like it's way too easy for people to be acquiring these weapons. And you've heard too, I feel like I've heard too, like, people's parents bringing them into the home, because some of these shooters are very young. So, like, it's like their parents own them, or their parents bought the gun for them or something like that. So, it's something I don't know a lot about. And I definitely think that, I wish that everyone just sort of had good intentions around potentially...
Pure intentions.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't own a gun, and I don't even really know 100% how I feel about them, but...
They're tough.
Yeah,
like I said,
it's so tricky.
I am a gun owner. I'm not like an arms guy. Like, I have a buddy that is he loves guns, and but he's very safe, and he's a hunter. He has plenty of weapons, and but I'm talking about this guy, one of the nicest guys you ever meet. He's not a rough guy, like, not trying to look to start anything, but he enjoys his freedom of being able to bear arms, and being able to protect himself and whatnot. And some people, like I said, whether it's hunting, some people shoot him for sport and whatnot. And like I said, I'm not like a huge gun guy. I look at it more as the defense mechanism. Like, I like to have it to protect the home and protect yourself, whatever you carry. That's what I feel like it should be meant for, in majority. But like I said, they're just so dangerous. Like, the way that people just treat it, like, some people treat it like it's a toy. Like, how many incidents are there where people, probably a year, where people misfire, just messing around, fucking around with the gun, goes off. Or people just being lackadaisical, as in, like you said, parents owning guns, and then kids just somehow stumbling and, we thought we locked the gun cat. Like, it's not. It's like something like that. What do you mean? You thought? Like, you should know at all times.
Exactly.
Because something like that is just something you don't want to fuck around with.
No, you definitely don't. Yeah, it's, the attitude. There was the one of the representatives from Tennessee, the one who would represent the district where the school was located, and his Christmas card, they showed his Christmas card from this past year, and it was him and his wife and all his children holding these guns. So that's just,
Yeah, it's not a good look.
No, it's not a good look. And, like, if you really just want them if you have to have one because you want to hunt or shoot it, I guess that's one thing. But like you said, like, having that casual attitude towards it, where you want to be holding one in your Christmas card, like, that to me is
and that's one of those things. It's like, like I said, I'm pro freedom, so I guess if you guys aren't harming anybody, but at the same time, I mean, me, it's not my thing. I wouldn't be, not with my, if I had kids, I wouldn't be sitting there. But some people do train their kids well. And some people even train their kids to use arms, I've had family members that were hunters, as we were growing up, and trained, know how to shoot a gun. But like you said, it's just a lot of it falls on the parents and the guidance system. Because a kid only knows so much, and their responsibility is only going to go so far until they kind of just So, but yeah, that shooting is just hopefully just thoughts going out to all the people involved, and hopefully that they can find the courage, because especially coming back from something like that is probably just so scary. To even think to be a kid and have to go back to school, or be a parent and send your kid back to school, it's something crazy. So
yeah, I hope that they really it just I do believe it's just banning a certain type of gun, because you can talk about mental health and all that, and certainly those things come into play, but just having those weapons that fire rounds so fast, so quickly, so many, it's just the civilians who know. I don't know about non-civilians. I just feel like we don't need
it can definitely be seen as overkill, for sure. For sure. Well, on a lighter note,
let's move on.
Tennessee, and you were there, you got certified, and then you came back to Michigan, and I know now you're doing your thing, you're teaching classes down over in Detroit. How was that? How did you enjoy it? Obviously, it's something that occurred as a passion for you. I'm curious, how early on, was it something that you've kind of always thought that you wanted to be involved in, or is it something that you turned to in a point in your life to where you thought maybe it would help you, benefit you, and then it just became more of a part of your life,
I started practicing yoga when I was a teenager, probably, and in the beginning, like, I didn't see all the benefits from it that I do now. In the beginning, it was more like a form of exercise to me.
Yeah.
And then once I did my teacher training is when it became, more of like it just really like opened up a lot of the background to it. You can see deeper into what it is, and that I did about 7 years ago. So since then, I've been, working and kind of working to read all I can and understand all I can to sort of deepen my knowledge of the practice beyond just being like a form of exercise.
Yes. Exercise in itself, though, for the yoga. I mean, I've heard, and my buddy, I forgot what kind of yoga he said he did, but he was like, no, it's not like hot yoga. It's not like, fast, like boom, boom. He said it's more of a Zen, but still, I mean, people don't realize the workout you get from just stretching.
Right. No, for sure.
And how tough it is. If you're not a flexible person, I mean, me, I train, and I train hard, at least probably like 5 days a week. So, I'm only 25, but I've been doing, hard labor work for the last probably 6 years, and my body, like, I mean, I take stuff and I stretch in the morning, but I'm telling you, and when I don't stretch, you can feel, if you don't stretch for like a week or so, and you're a person that usually stretches, you can start to feel your muscles tighten up in the morning. Everything's a little bit more stiff, but and obviously, I mean, yoga, that's stretching at its peak.
Yeah.
So, but I can only imagine, I mean, the benefits that you get from yoga. What do you think is probably, if you're looking to get, some good results as far as fitness wise, what are some good ways and good different types of methods, of yoga that people can look forward to? Because like I said, I know there's different kinds, different levels. I don't really know the stages and the phases. So
a lot of studios do things differently because there are just so many styles of yoga. If you're looking for something that is like kind of more, I don't want to say workout, but more fast-paced, more movement, a good thing to do is to look at just the descriptions on a website.
Okay, yeah.
But, some keywords to look for would be like flow or vinyasa.
Vinyasa.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, anything that talks about, because there are some places that have like power yoga, so you can look for terms like that.
Power yoga.
Yeah.
So what's that?
So power yoga, honestly, I think that it can sort of be whatever the studio wants it to be.
Yeah.
I don't think I've ever taken a power yoga class. I've definitely never taught one. But what comes to mind when I hear that term is fast-paced, probably challenging, lots of movement.
Sounds like fun.
Yeah, yeah. And so, that can be, it definitely could be challenging, but I think you'll walk away from that feeling really energized.
Yes.
Is what I
probably
would.
Probably super loose.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, for sure. What's your favorite?
My favorite, I like to do lots of different styles that complement each other. The studio where I work, and I take a lot of classes.
Yeah, right on.
So I like to do sort of a mid-level flow class. We have one that is a slower flow, so you will hold poses for a long time. And then we have the next level up. That's how they kind of categorize it, level 1, 2, and 3 there. So I like to do the 2 at sort of right in the middle. And that is a faster flow, so you'll be moving through the postures a little bit more quickly. So you do, you do get a little bit more movement in sometimes. A little
bit
faster.
How many poses usually are you guys throwing out usually in like a session?
It depends. Some classes we have a yin class, and yin yoga is very, it's multifaceted. So you hold your poses for several minutes. So you might only do a couple, and it's really focused on the hips.
Wow.
So that one, you might have 5, you might have 10 poses. It's hard to say for sure. So a lot of teachers break their classes down into different flows. You might do 2 or 3 different flows throughout your class. And a flow could have 2 poses. It could have 6 or 7 plus. The class that I teach is a slow flow, so I tend to put together maybe 3 to 4 different poses. And then you might repeat the flows a second time through. You could add a little bit more. You could add a little variation, offer a different variation of the pose to the students.
Right on. That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've always... Now, how... yoga and meditation, they kind of go hand in hand. How much do you know about the meditation?
Yeah, I mean, that's a tough question. So I definitely meditate myself.
Yeah. As
far as teaching it, classes always have moments of meditation for the most part. I guess I shouldn't say always. Towards the beginning, towards the end. But the whole class can really be a meditation.
I was going to say, you could almost say that yoga is a form of meditation in itself.
Yeah, like a movement meditation. Yep, it's really, the word yoga is sometimes translated to unity or yoke, bringing together. So bringing together the mind, the body, and spirit. So, you are focusing on your body, but you're also focusing on your breath, and you're controlling your thoughts through this process.
Breath work, is key, especially when you're doing the poses. Trying to hold those poses several minutes, and then on top of that, trying to maintain probably a steady pace at breath. I could see someone breaking a sweat easily doing that. Yeah,
definitely. With the yin that I mentioned, where you're holding poses for like 3, 5, 7, 10 minutes. Most of those are usually seated, or they're pretty. You might be on your knees or on your belly or something like that, or on your back for a lot of them. So yeah, like even the slow flow that I teach, we would hold poses like a warrior pose or something like that for maybe 5, 10 breaths. So it's not going to be several minutes, although you might find a class out there. That'll go that long. It's good not to speak in absolutes about yoga, because it can be so many different things depending on the teacher, the studio.
That's style. Probably one of the coolest things about it, though.
Oh,
you can probably just go all different types of places, especially even locally, like you said, in Detroit. you could probably find different places and people that are teaching. Every teacher's probably got a little bit something that they can offer you, a little bit of spice that they put on the things, you know what I mean, to kind of put their own little taste on it. So,
yeah.
But another thing I wanted to talk to you about is, now you said you live mostly a plant-based lifestyle. You like that?
I do. I like it. My body likes it.
Yeah.
For sure.
Because I had a buddy, too, that was telling me the same thing not too long ago, that he was cutting out meat, especially, like, red meat. And, I mean, I've tried multiple different diets myself, and I've been doing the carnivore diet as of late.
Oh, like the keto?
Yeah, basically. So it's, like, just basically, like, red meat, eggs, you know. I throw in some different stuff, though, like raw dairy, you know, whole dairy. Sometimes I do, like, vegetables. I'll go, like, on and off. But, and it does me good. Like, try to cut out carbs for the most part and processed sugars. And I became more, you know, nutritionally aware over the years. As I grew up, I mean, I was always a bigger guy. And, I mean, I used to just eat, like, whatever. I didn't care. And my sleep schedule and everything was just terrible. And then not up until probably about, I don't know, maybe 4 years ago is when I started to, you know, take my diet and my active lifestyle a little bit more seriously. And like I said, I tried so much different stuff. I was like, all right, I'm going to be a vegetarian. And I was like, talked about being a pescatarian. And I was doing meal prepping. I was eating chicken and rice and vegetables, you know, every day. And I tried a bunch of different stuff. But it's really, I always tell people, you know, everybody's body is unique. So it's hard for people to find out what works for them.
Yeah.
The plant-based lifestyle, I mean, what are some of your favorite dishes that you like to whip up?
So that's hard, honestly. I have not been super motivated to cook recently.
Yeah.
But if I am,
I never am.
Yeah, I know. Living in Detroit, so I'll just I love to go to Hamtramck for Indian food, or you know, I guess there's different kinds of food out there, so not just Indian.
For sure.
Lebanese, so just
Lebanese, yeah, that's another good one. Yeah, I love trying different cultural dishes.
Yeah.
That is one of the cool things, too, about not even just Detroit, but Michigan in general. I mean, they got so many different places that are all types of nationalities and all different types of food you can go get. It's really cool.
Yeah. If I do have to cook, I love to just, like, roast vegetables.
Yeah.
Add some beans. Rice. They say with vegan, plant-based lifestyle, you should think about having greens, beans, and grains in all of your dishes. So, you know, if you want to make a taco, you could use rice or quinoa and beans and, like, saute some greens and, of course, add whatever else you want. But, yeah.
How long have you been eating like that?
I've been vegetarian for over 10 years.
Okay. You don't eat any meat at all?
No, I don't.
No, okay. How long? 10 years?
Yeah, probably at least 10 at this point.
So was it, when you jumped into that, was it something that, like, you ate that turned you off? That you were like, I don't want to eat meat anymore? Because I know that happens with, you know, people that are vegetarian. They're like, they might have ate something and got sick or whatever it might be. So, yeah, was that what it was? Something like that? Yeah,
when I was a kid, I never liked eating red meat because it upset my stomach. So that was easy to transition away from. And then it wasn't like, because I really liked chicken, fish. And I should say that I do eat fish every once in a while.
Yeah.
So I don't call myself vegan, vegetarian. I'm sort of in a transition.
Yeah.
Even though I lived vegetarian for a very long time, I'm trying to think about what feels best if I want to be vegan, if I want to, like, eat a little fish. So I say mostly plant-based right now is where I'm trying to land. But I did always like chicken, turkey, the leaner meats, pork. But for me, it was just a matter of
pork.
Bacon.
That's right? One of the ones, yeah. Or, like, I love pulled pork.
Oh, yeah. I remember having that. that would be present at a lot of gatherings in Nashville, like
can't go wrong with
barbecues, you know.
I can only imagine.
Chicken.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Probably got some of the best stuff there.
Oh yeah, I could give you some recommendations. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I bet. Yeah, but even like pig, like pork, like I've always loved pork chops. Like my mom always made pork chops, like you said, bacon, stuff
my dad
like
did
that.
too.
And I was just like, I never really thought, you know. And then I had someone that I used to cook. This guy I used to work with, he was Muslim, and he was you know, I'm eating the pulled pork. We just pulled it out, and it came out fresh, and I'm like prepping everything and snacking, and I'm like, dude, you gotta try some of this. It's so good. It came out so good. He's like, I don't eat pork. It's like, I don't eat swine. It's like, it's nasty.
Yeah.
It's dirty. I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, you ever think about it? Like, pigs, what they eat? He's like, they'll eat anything. He's like, literally, they sit there and they eat like each other's poop and stuff like that. And I'm like thinking, the more he was like saying stuff about it, I'm like, you know what? I mean, still go over to my mom's for dinner and I'll eat some pork chops. Don't get me wrong. But I don't know. A lot of people don't think about, especially in today's day and age, like what they're really putting in their body. It's crazy.
Yeah. You know, I think it's important if you thinking about what you're eating and where it comes from and how it's gotten to your plate, and that includes vegetables too, as far as you know, the rights of farmers and workers. But with meat, it's important to think about where it's sourced from, how the animals were treated, what their life was like, what it was like for them when they were dying, you know, because for the most part animals are very scared and their bodies are full of adrenaline and terror and fear, and so you could be taking all those things in potentially when you're eating meat. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of books that you can read. For me, it was an issue of morality to give up meat. Yeah, just the way that the animals live their lives. Yeah, and
it's just, I mean, if you watch, like, you know, the big food companies that control a lot of the shit, I mean, the way that it's done, it's pretty gross. People don't know and they don't care. They're like, oh yeah, McDonald's, whatever, dude, stuffing in there. But it's like, I mean, even me, you know, like for my protein, I try to buy all grass-fed protein. You know, my eggs that I buy are farm egg, you know, fresh farm eggs. They're free-range eggs. You know, even people don't understand. Like, my grandpa, growing up, always had chickens. He had a chicken coop. Like, you know, I know about, like, fresh eggs. You know, people don't get, like, and even the chickens, like, you know, when they shoot them up with all these different, you know, types of hormones and steroids and stuff. Because it's all about production. It's all about money, you know. So, and like I said, people are just like, oh, whatever, this is on sale. Like, yeah, let me just... Like, I was talking with my buddy, and then you could buy steaks, and they're on sale, and, like, it's a bunch of, like, scrap meat that they just, like, put together, you know, and grind it and made, like, a steak out of that you're about to eat. Yeah, it was on sale, but there's probably a little bit more to why it was on sale.
Yeah, I would say probably so. Yeah, I don't know too much about meat, like, being sold in the grocery store, but it could be, you know, or it could just be close to its date or something like that, or it could be, and how you eat and what you choose to eat is super personal. Yeah, it is. But I think, oh, shit. I think it's important to, you know, if just eating well for your body. I don't tell people how to eat. Yeah. And that's the tough thing. It's that's another thing, like I said, with the opinion. So many people trying to force down, and nowadays it's like there's so much different shit. People are like, no, you got to do this, you got to do this, you got to do this. People are like, oh, I want to lose 10 pounds fast, and they got all this bullshit, and it's tough. But like you said, eating well for yourself. Because people don't even understand that's where it all starts with the mind, having a healthy functioning brain, you know, and being able to think clearly and being able to function and having healthy joints and bones and whatnot.
it all comes down to diet and your lifestyle, and the diet is just so key, and it's hard.
Right, because like literally you are what you eat. Your body breaks down all the food that you have, rebuilds all your tissues from it, your blood, your muscles, your bones, your skin, everything comes from what you eat. So
that's why I feel I feel like everybody should have to, like, back in the day how they did it, that's how it was supposed to be, like hunting and gathering, and it's just the way that it is now, with the world being with so many people. It's gotta be, it's just ran like how it is, and like I said, it's all about money. And it sucks because it's tough, especially for families that don't have a lot of money. They're trying to find the best way and the cheapest way that they can feed their families and stuff like that. But if people just put in a little bit more effort and work, and it's a little bit more tough. It's like, all right, instead of fucking just going and picking up, the McDonald's or the Burger King or the pizza every night, you could go to the grocery store, grab this and that. You might have to grab like 5 or 6 different ingredients, but you get what you get and take it home, and you cook it, and you make something nutritional for you and the family. And it's going to take a little bit more time, but it's going to be beneficial for everybody at the end of the day, your whole family.
Yeah, for sure.
So.
I mean, everyone has their own limitations as far as budget and who they're caring for, but I think that putting in time for your health now and what you eat, you're giving yourself the best possible chance of doing well later. It's a lot of times, like if you don't take care of yourself now, it's eventually going to catch up with you.
Yeah.
And I've definitely lived a lifestyle that wasn't the healthiest.
Yeah.
So I'm never trying to judge anyone, and whatever you're thinking about, I probably could have tried it, and I used to smoke cigarettes, and I used to drink a lot.
Me too.
And so I'm not, right.
I know.
And
it's tough.
Yeah, you just start to hopefully get to a point where you realize, like, this isn't good for me anymore. I'm going to pay for this later. It might feel good now. Same with eating.
Yeah.
Like.
And you try to like, you figure out ways that are beneficial for you, and you want to try to even help other people. But like you said, you try to do what you can. And you don't want to tell people how to live their life, though, because that's the whole problem. People are like, well, it's my life. I want to live it. It's like, yeah, but I'm just trying to look out for you,
Yeah.
Being healthy, like I said, it's one of those things I feel like personally everybody should try. They're, like, being healthy is what everybody should want to be, And like I said, I don't judge anybody, and I love to eat. Everybody know, I've always been like that. And it's super hard for me to stay disciplined with my diet. But I know that I reap what I sow. And when I do choose to, all right, fuck it, gonna just pigged out, had some pizza for dinner, and now I'm about to fucking have some cookies and ice cream. And it's just, and now it's later at night. I should be in bed, but I'm still up. Now I'm gonna snack on whatever, some candy or something. And then I wake up in the morning. I'm bloated. I got like heartburn.
Right.
I'm like all sluggish. So, all I got in me is like sugar, carb.
Salt,
nothing good. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm like, fuck. And then I'm like, well, I already know that I got to reset. So, and staying on that path, like I said, everybody veers off, and it's good too to have to enjoy. Like there's plenty of good food out there and stuff like that. Like people should enjoy it, but it's all about like finding out, like you said, what works best for you.
Yeah.
Knowing your limits,
Yeah, what works best for you physically, and also what you feel comfortable eating as far as, like, do you want to eat meat? Are you comfortable with how meat gets to the supermarket, to your table? Are you comfortable with how your produce, like, do you want to start looking for like a CSA or going to the farmer's market more instead of just going to Kroger or something like that and getting produce where, potentially the worker is harvesting it aren't paid well. Also, people that work in, other meat processing factories are not paid well, and they have a lot of mental. Some of them, okay, so I guess I shouldn't say, blanket statement, but I've read about how working in meat processing factories can be very traumatizing for people.
Really?
Yes. Because the animals, don't want to go to be slaughtered.
No.
So the workers will have to, they'll get frustrated. And they're, and this is from footage.
Yeah.
They'll get frustrated, and so they'll start screaming, and they'll start beating the creatures, and then when that becomes your work life, are you going to take that to other people?
Slaughtering animals all day.
Right. Mm-hmm. There was I lived in Chattanooga, Tennessee for a while.
It'd be a crazy one.
Yeah, I know.
To be doing that.
Yeah, there was a really big chicken factory in Chattanooga. I think it's for Purdue. And you would sometimes meet people that work there, and they would be like the person who cuts the necks, the chicken, or they are the ones that hang the chickens up by their toes. Yeah. I can recommend a really good book, which is the first one that I read when I was becoming vegetarian, and it's so I just said I can recommend it, but I always have to think about the title. It's called Why We Love Dogs, Eat Pigs, and Wear Cows, something along those lines.
Okay.
And it tells you a lot about, a lot of the mental stuff that goes on. It does. I think that book mentions some of the conditions of people working in slaughterhouses and the psychological effects. But, you can also watch documentaries, too. There's plenty out there. Mm-hmm.
There are. That's why people have to do their homework on what they eat.
Yes.
And that's the tough part. Nobody wants to do any work. It's and I always used to think my grandma was nutty because she reads the ingredients for everything. We couldn't go in the grocery store without my grandma. Or she's someone gives you some, we would be going camping, and some other family would give us some snacks, and we're going back, and my grandma's like, "What is that?" No, don't eat that. I got this fucking brand. It's
that's good. She's looking out for you.
And now that I keep telling, I'm like, man, I'm telling my buddy, we're going out of town. The next morning, I'm taking all my supplements. I'm taking this, and that. He's like, dude, your grandma's got you. And I'm like, dude, trying to tell him, and now I sound like a nut, but I'm like, this is good for you, this and this and that. And then same thing with eating. When I go to the grocery store now, I take the time, I look at shit, whether it's my coffee or my, like you said, your produce, just the difference between, like you said, going to the store and buying some produce that's in a plastic container that they cut up already, that's probably not that fresh. Like you said, you don't know how many times it's been touched.
Right.
But it's that, it's ready, easy to serve, as opposed to, like you said, doing a little bit of work, looking up your local farmer's market, maybe going to get some fresh produce. So it's tough. And, everybody's got to work with what they got.
Yeah, exactly. Because not everyone, of course, has access to things like that. People live in food deserts.
Yeah.
And so that's why it is important to work with people where they are, and why I don't force my lifestyle on someone else.
Yeah.
Sometimes you just making the first step to know, hey, when my circumstances change, I want to eat differently.
Yeah.
Or I want to start eating differently, and I'm going to change the way I eat one day a week. Yeah, those are all wonderful.
I'm a firm believer in not feeling like shit. I feel like when you get older, obviously everybody ages, but it's I feel like people are just accept they're when they're 60 years old. Some people I've worked with, they're 50 and they're already getting close to being out the door. Their body's running low. They don't have, and they're all banged up. And I get it, especially when you're doing something like physical labor or whatnot over time. But I feel like if you truly take care of yourself, you do the right things, and you stay on top of it, you can live a life and not be hurting and beat up and ready. You can be 80, 85, 90 years and live and feel good.
Yeah, for sure. You can give yourself, like we were saying, the best chance to feel good because there's certain genetics that are going to come into play as you get older. There are things that are just going to deteriorate based on your DNA just wearing out over time, certainly. But yeah, like that's where yoga comes back in too. Yoga can be a lifelong practice. You might not be taking the power yoga class anymore when you're 70 or 80.
Yeah, right.
Or the hot yoga that's 99, 100 degrees. But yeah, keeping movement within your body and accepting that, taking, not accepting, I guess is where I was going, like not accepting that you have to just get old and things are going to go bad. Like you can give yourself the best chance to have that not happen with diet and meditation, yoga, I believe.
100%. Like you said, having something like that under your belt, even like yoga, where you could, as you age, even if, you could be older and still, like you said, roll the mat out. It doesn't have to be to the high level of intensity you were doing however long ago. And just figuring out, and I'm a firm believer that, like, everybody's got their own niche, especially when it comes to physical activity. Me personally, like I said, when I train, I like to train hard. I like to train intentional. Like I like to train by myself a lot because I don't like to go to the gym and like just stand there and like be on my phone. Like I got a routine. I got like circuits. It's like I got probably most of the time I'm on a time schedule, so it's like got to get it all in. I'm just trying to do my lap, do my thing. And everybody's different though. Some people they don't want to work to that level of intensity, and that's fine. Some people don't want to lift at all. Like I've always said, like lifting weights is not fun. I do lifting weights, but I run. I run outside. I'll go to the track and run. I do cardio. I train. I've done boxing. So it's like whatever people, even people that don't like to run, like you could go for walks if you like nature. So just finding what works best for you. But physical activity is just so important. Like I know you said you like to go hiking, and I know you said you like your dog. You have a dog. Having a dog is just such a good way to get some exercise. Oh yeah, taking your dog for a walk. For sure. That's all you got to do.
Yeah, she loves to hike. She's 7, but she can still hike.
Oh, really?
Several miles. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. And that's the thing. The dog will, at most of the time, end up giving your ass the workout.
Oh, my gosh. Yeah, I took her on a hike, and it was, like, miles that we went for. And towards the end, she was still just, like, I want to go here. I want to go here.
Exactly.
I'm so excited. And I was like, you need to be tired.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, you need to calm down.
But like I said, people overlook it, and instead of just they're not looking at it like, oh, just all I gotta do is take my dog for a walk. They're like, it's a burden. Like I gotta take my dog for a walk to take my dog to the bathroom. So they just stand outside and like they're like tell their dog. It's like, no, dude, just go walk around the block with your dog, and take him for a walk to go to the bathroom, and then you're already getting some of your exercise that you need throughout the day.
Yeah, getting outside, being present. Just not thinking, like, because it can be a hassle to be like, oh my gosh, I have a million things to do. Yeah. This isn't a great time to take the dog out. It's not a great time for me to take a walk around the block. But, it is a great time because it's always a good time to get exercise, to be outside, to just not focus on, just focus on yourself for a little bit. And that's part of what I like to call people's attention to in my yoga classes, and what we were talking about at the beginning with cell phones and everything. It's an hour without your cell phone. Yeah, which can be hard. So if you just take a little walk, it could be.
I don't know if people these days can go that long.
It's funny because some teachers will be very strict, like. Yeah. Don't no phones like school, in class. Like high school, you can have your phone, of course, because you might have you might be waiting on a phone call, or you might want to keep your phone nearby for some reason. Yeah. Emergency, or just something's going on in your life. That's fine. But like a friend of mine was like, yeah, these women were like literally scrolling their phones like in my class, which is pretty wild to me.
Yeah.
You know, like if you do need to bring your phone, and I would say try not to actually use it unless you have to, because it's...
Well, that kind of takes away, from the purpose.
Right, yeah.
You know? But like you said, some people, they can't even, like, they set their phone down and they're like, I don't have to. But it's that casual, like, even me, I, like, working, I mean, I'm a single guy, so it's like, I don't have a girl, like, I know people that talk, like, to their significant other, like, all day. Like, and I'm like, what do you have to talk about later in the day? Like, you've been talking to them all day, and it's like, but like I said, it's just not my thing, but I get it. But me, like, I'm just like, all right, I got my phone in my pocket, because I know I might have to answer a call, work-related, whatever, it might be important, like you said, but, all right, it's on loud. Like, I know if it rings, I got to check that. If not, like, I got my radio, I'm listening to, I got my... So I don't really need to be on my phone. But it's like, as soon as someone gets bored, or it's like you go to the bathroom, and then you get out of the bed, and you walk out, you're like, oh, let me check. And then you just don't check it, though. You're like, oh, let me pull up Facebook, or let me... And then it's like you said, 15 minutes goes by.
Right, or more.
And you do that a couple times throughout the day. And then, like you said, you check that screen time and you're like, holy shit.
Yeah, and it's like, oh, why did I not get anything else done this week or today? It's because I was on my phone. But yeah, I mean, and I do the same thing, like I was saying. But yeah, going to some sort of class, even going to the gym, I think it's harder at the gym because we use our phones for music a lot of the time. So if you can find something where, you have a workout in a group setting where you don't need your phone, it's great. So whether it's yoga, I don't know if there's still like Zumba classes like how there were 10, 15 years ago, kickboxing, just stuff like that. Anything that can get that phone out of your hand. Yeah. I think it's good. And then
even, go ahead.
I was going to say yoga takes it to a certain place too, and other classes might include elements of this, but focusing on present moment awareness as opposed to just like having you away from the phone. Like in yoga, you're really focusing on your body, you're focusing on your sensations, on yourself, really being present. So I think that you can take that practice outside of the studio too and try to remain present in your life, which is hard.
For sure. What are some of the like key benefits that you feel like from personal experience that you get through yoga and as well as meditation?
Yeah, personally, I always feel better after yoga classes. Like I've sat in yoga classes, when I'm happy, when I'm sad, when I'm tired, when I'm going through a breakup, just all kinds of different, like there have been so many times where I'm like, the last thing I want to do is yoga, but I know it's gonna, like having the discipline, having the community is important too. If you can get in with a studio that you really like and start to get to know people. So some of the main benefits, just feeling better after having focused on something else besides what's going on in your life, taking time to care for yourself. I always feel more energized because you are usually encouraged to do some sort of breath work, even if it's not like we're going to do this breath work exercise now. Like throughout the class, you should be prompted by your teacher to keep breathing, think about breath in this pose, or even we're going to hold this pose for 3 breaths, and then you're thinking about that. You're focusing on your breathing, you're not focusing on anything else. And you're moving your body, you're drawing in energy. So one thing that yoga talks about is prana, spirit. Or
what is prana?
Yeah, it's there's a lot of ways to describe it. So a teacher of mine recently said it's something that rides on the breath. So it's not the breath itself, but it's basically like life force or energy, source energy. And when you think about where our spirits and our consciousness come from. Prana can be seen, I would like to call it life force. Yeah. So when you draw in your breath, you're also drawing in that prana. Okay. And when you exhale, which you're encouraged to often focus on your exhales in yoga, you're removing stale air from your body. You're drawing in fresh air. You're drawing in fresh life force.
Yeah.
So yeah, I find that my body, my cell, like on a cellular level, I feel rejuvenated after doing yoga. I've stretched out my body. I've worked my muscles, so I'm feeling looser, but we also store things inside of us.
Mm-hmm.
So through yoga and through that movement, we can start to work through them.
Yep.
A lot of times I prompt my students, either in the beginning or end of class, to focus on, trying to not focus on the thoughts that come up.
Yeah.
As they start the practice, because when you lay down, especially a 6 o'clock class or something, you just had a full day.
Mm-hmm.
Or I teach a Sunday morning class, so you've had a full week. Behind you, a full week is coming up, so you lay on your mat and you might start to think, I have to do this and this and this. And so then, yeah, just like focusing on letting those thoughts kind of not control you for a little bit.
For sure.
Yeah. So
For sure.
yeah, as far as benefits, I would say I've gone through a lot. But I just always feel better.
Yeah. Well, that's what you should look for in something like that. I feel like, challenging yourself, trying to feel good, trying to feel better, because there's so many different ways, whether like yoga, or I even look through that through boxing. I'm a very big believer in like, also to staying diverse, even if you have your thing, like I have my thing with training, but I like to believe in trying new things as well, kind of stretching yourself out.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But you talked a little bit about, consciousness. You had just mentioned that, and it's so fascinating, though, just how much there is out there about breath work in altered states of consciousness.
Oh yeah,
it's crazy. That rabbit hole kind of goes deep. Yeah,
it does. Yeah, it definitely does. And I wanted to mention too that breath work is part of, it's usually part of yoga class, and it's part of the path of yoga as well. So a lot of people think of yoga as just the postures.
Yeah.
And there's many different schools of thought about yoga. But the 8-limb path is something that I would encourage people to look up if they want to learn more about yoga. So the asana, the postures, your warrior one or something like that, that is just one of the 8 limbs. One of them is breath work, the pranayama that we've been talking about. And then it starts to go into, it starts out with more like morality, like things to do, things not to do. It talks about posture, it talks about breath, and then you start to get deeper into like the meditative states, like focus. Kind of learning how to not focus on distractions.
Okay.
And then just getting into a meditative state where you start to you have so little thought in your brain that you start to become one with whatever you're meditating on, and the thoughts that arise, you're not even, it's like meditating without realizing that you're meditating.
Yeah. And is that almost what you call, like, is that the flow that you describe? Like getting into that state of consciousness, like when you find that, is that what you guys are meaning? When I hear people talk about like being in that flow state.
Yeah, I think definitely it could be a flow state of mind. To me, is one where you're just in the flow of what you're doing. So there's another good book that I could recommend. It's actually called Flow.
Okay.
It's probably written in like the 70s or 80s. I read it during my yoga teacher training.
Right on.
It talks about the flow state and how it can change you.
That sounds like a good read.
Yeah, but like with the vinyasa classes that I was talking about, it's great to link those poses together and students can find their flow in them. They can start to let things fall away because they're focusing on their breath, they're focusing on the postures, and yeah, that you can really get to a meditative state, certainly, and that's a great benefit of yoga.
Yeah. I've even, like, I had a buddy. Well, I have a buddy. He's still my buddy. And awesome dude. I've actually had him on the podcast once. And he's been on, like, you know, just a crazy journey. You know, he's a big spiritual guy.
Oh, cool.
And he was, you know, he's been, you know, fruitarian, and he's been, you know, big. He's done all different types of fasting and juice fasts and all this stuff. And he had mentioned something to me about breatharians.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard about that?
I have. Yeah. I
was like, what?
Yeah, I met someone I lived with someone once doing like a work trade situation who had, in the beginning he was eating, and then towards the end he was trying to do the breatharian or breatharian, and he was like, I haven't eaten in like 6 days or something. And
what?
I was like, because you can, I don't know a lot about fasting. I know you can.
Isn't it? Yeah, it's crazy.
For quite a while, as long as you're hydrating.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, but it's tough. I can only imagine 6 days.
Right. I know.
Shit, I'm hungry every couple hours.
I know. I think, you know, you get to a state where it becomes more manageable from what I've heard from other people.
Once you probably get over a certain
hump of something. And I've never tried it, and I've often thought about it, and it's difficult to imagine with like the lives that we lead. But I think it can be really good for your internal system. But yeah, the breatharian, like thinking that you can just draw everything that you need from all the nutrients that you need from the air around you. So
it's wild. It's a wild theory.
I mean, and I fully believe in science too, along with you know, Eastern or non-traditional medicine. So I think that I do think that we need to eat.
Yeah,
we need nutrients.
I'm like, yeah. But there's definitely, I mean, there's tremendous benefits that, you know, come from understanding, you know, breath work and understanding just like the different techniques. And even I've heard stuff about like breathing out of your mouth as opposed to breathing through your nose. Like, I didn't even know. I'm like, what, there's a certain way that you're supposed to breathe. And of course it's like nowadays, especially with the scientific evidence that they put forward towards all of this stuff, it's like, yeah, or like when you get, so there's people like, I know this girl that I have on Instagram, and she lives a super holistic lifestyle, and like she's always like, you know, putting new stuff, and she was like taping her mouth shut when she went to sleep.
Interesting.
So she can only breathe through her nose. I haven't really looked into like benefits of that, but I mean, like I said, who knows nowadays with all the scientific evidence that they find. But there's just a lot of unique things that you can find out, you know, and it's kind of cool and fascinating when you hear different stuff like that.
Yeah, I think, you know,
but the breatharian shit just kind of threw me off. Like you said, I gotta eat.
Right. I mean, so. I think, you know, you can go quite a while without eating as long as you're hydrating, and I think there's something to be said with where it could take you mentally, that some people find really beneficial into a fasting state. You know, good for kind of resetting potentially your gut health too. I've never tried it, like I said, but yeah,
fasting.
You do need to eat
for sure.
Yeah.
Even fasting. I mean, I do intermittent fasting, and I started doing that. It's probably been a good probably 8 months or so, and I never really was a big breakfast person, especially younger in school. Like, I never, you know, ate breakfast in the morning. And lunch, though, like I said, I work construction. It's like I'm out. It's fucking, you know, taco. I was just Taco Bell, Coney Island, whatever, pound and shit, you know, all this. And so I started saying fuck that, and I was eating my own stuff, eating better, and then I started hearing about intermittent fasting, and I have never done anything past that, but there's just a window, like it's basically you're just a certain window. It's not like a 24-hour fast. Intermittent fasting, you're basically, it's like a 6 to 12-hour window, and
where you can eat or where you cannot eat.
Where you don't eat.
Okay.
So, and I feel like a tremendous amount of benefits. Like I literally, sometimes I don't even eat lunch, breakfast or lunch, and I just eat dinner. And I'm not like, sometimes I might be a little hungry, and I feel like a lot of it too is like a mindset thing. Like I'm used to eating lunch, like I should be, but it's like I'm not truly deprived and hungry, but I just want to eat. Yeah, and then after I stuff my face with something, I'm like, I didn't really need that. I just was like, I thought about eat. Like I tell people all the time, a lot of times people eat just because they're bored. And even me, like I try to go to sleep earlier because I know if I stay up later, I'm gonna probably want to snack on something. Right. So it's tough, and everybody's got a different metabolic rate, when it comes to that. But fasting, it's tremendous. I feel sometimes even sharper, and me especially too, like because I was going to the gym after work. I go on and off. I like to go in the mornings, but sometimes it just doesn't work out. So even when I would go to the gym after work, like if I would eat lunch or eat later, like by the time I would go to train, I kind of feel it a little bit, as opposed to where, like I said, if I don't eat breakfast and I'll have some, I drink plenty of water though. I like to have some coffee. I get some caffeine in me. I like to get my electrolytes in me. My amino acids, my BCAAs, like I said, to take supplements and whatnot, and I don't feel deprived. And then by the time I get home, I eat a nice good dinner. I might have a steak, some eggs, a little bit, maybe some sauteed asparagus, whatever, like I said, some cheese, something, and then I'm good till the next day. And then when I do, like I said, it might be whatever, and I go to my mom's every Sunday too for dinner. So whatever she's cooking, I'm going to go over there and eat that. And then whenever I do veer off like my normal routine and my normal diet, it's nice when I go ahead and wait a little bit, like you said, kind of clear out my gut, let everything reset before I end up putting anything back in me. So fasting is good, but I've never went, like I said, longer than that window.
I think with like the Master Cleanse, which is sort of like a program where every week you're doing something different as far as the fast goes, I think it might be like 2, 3, maybe even 4 weeks of a fast. It might be, but you do, I think on that one you drink like lemon, cayenne, maple syrup, water, something like that. I might be getting these confused. I've never studied
a lot of them they keep, like you said, some liquids or enough in them to keep them hydrated. Like bare minimum. Yeah, that sounds very appetizing.
Yeah, I think if you, if it's something you're interested in as beyond like intermittent fasting, talk to a doctor or at least do some research. For sure. Because that's the thing too. A lot of people don't do the homework, and I mean, I'm guilty somewhat to that. Everybody is, because like I said, that's a whole nother thing that you got to do, and you got to put the work in to figure out like what is really affecting me and if what I'm doing is even benefiting me. You might think it is on the surface, and then beneath that it's not really, helping you out the way that you thought or the way that you intended. So right. And everybody is different, like we've been saying. I have to eat breakfast. I know a lot of people that are like that for sure. My buddy's the same way. And it could be that, I do know that sometimes I think, what am I thinking? Plant-based proteins, they might not keep you full as long as animal protein, so you just eat more frequently. So I think part of that for me,
that could definitely
that's
be.
why breakfast is great for me. Like if I don't eat breakfast, I'll get, my whole day is kind of off. I'll get sick.
Probably a little grumpy.
I just won't feel well. Like I can feel my blood sugar
What
dropping.
do you like? You like something light? you do some little bit of fruit, maybe some carbohydrates, a little bit of sugars.
Yeah, I do. So I do eat eggs.
Yep.
I like a good egg for breakfast.
Oh, so you do eat eggs?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I have been, yeah. It's, again, I'm like kind of seeing...
Eggs are so good for you.
I'm seeing
Such
what
a good way
feels
to get
best for
protein.
my body. Yeah, I do feel good when I have protein, so I should probably think about, getting more. If I want to go full vegan, like what could I have for breakfast that would give me protein?
Yeah.
Which there's plenty of things too, for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes I like to eat oats.
Yeah.
Fruit.
Oats are good.
Mm-hmm.
Oats are good for you. Yeah, fruits. Like you said, as long as it's whole.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, whole
that's
foods.
the way to go, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, seeing, when you were talking about your grandma, reading the labels, like I think they say 5 or 3 ingredients or less, which is so hard.
That's what, and literally that's the thing. I'm like, and it's crazy though, because I kind of get like that with everything. Like now it's, to me, it's like, I'm like, all right, like you hear shit, I'm like, well, like I don't want to use fluoride toothpaste. And now I'm like, all right, like a body wash, like I'm looking at the back of the body wash. Like, what is this, all this shit? They're talking about like it's poison. I'm like, I gotta watch about what soap I'm using and shit like that. And everybody's like, people can call it crazy or whatnot or whatever, but telling you, I personally believe, this is just my opinion, but I think humans were just meant to live, like as naturally as possible. And it's like, especially in the way that the world is now, everything spiked up, disease and sickness and cancer and all that shit. Like, shouldn't be like that, but
no,
people don't realize a lot of the stuff that they put in and put on them is just toxic, even some stuff as simple as deodorant,
right,
face wash, shit like that. But there's so much of it, and then they advertise the shit out of it. They advertise it so good. They're like, yeah, this is good for you. And like I said, people don't realize what the fuck is even in it.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're just like, oh yeah, I got acne, I gotta use this shit. And it's like, it's got fucking 20 different chemicals in there that might be offsetting something, within your body naturally that you don't even got no clue about. You're just fucking putting the shit on. It's crazy.
Yeah, the skin, your skin is your largest organ.
Yes,
and it is
a lot of people don't even know that.
Just taking all those potential chemicals. Yeah, so you're absolutely right. Like I've tried to cut back on, using natural soap and shampoo, anything that you put on your body as far as like fabrics too, like cottons, and because anything that's synthetic is made from plastics. So polyester, anything that's not cotton, silk, wool, leather, which is, I'm wearing a bunch of clothing right now that's not 100% cotton. So it's like, again, we're just thinking about what do we want to do, making steps in that direction. Like I bought some,
we're human,
dollar store dish soap the other day, and I'm like, this isn't good for my hands. It's not good down the drain. It's not good for the earth.
But it's good for my pocket, and it's gonna wash the dishes. You know what I mean?
Needed it. Yep. Yeah. So it's progress, not perfection.
For sure. Realistic. That's the thing. It's nice to have high aspirations and want to be better. That's what I think. It's people should strive for that, and it's like you're not gonna always hit that mark all the time, and it's not always gonna be fucking perfect. And like I said, I struggle with that shit. Me, I've always been tough. Like I said, working out for me and training is nothing. It's always been the diet. I'm like, fuck.
Yeah. This
morning, I go to the gas station. The lady at the Speedway, she's so nice. She's kind of me into buying this candy, some type of fundraiser thing.
Like the things in the box.
And I tell her, I'm like, luckily my coworker was in there with me, and I'm like, I tell him, I'm like, you're gonna have to eat this. So if I buy it, I'm gonna want it. She's got the Reese's right there. That's my favorite candy. I love Reese's, and I'm like, and oh well, it's not gonna kill me to eat it, but I'm like, all right, well then if I do that, then later on I'm gonna be like, well then I can eat this bag of chips, and then I'm gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna eat that pizza that my boss got for work, instead of me being like, no, I'm good, sticking with what you discipline, it comes in factor.
Yeah, discipline is something that I've been working on in life recently, actually, just as far as getting up and doing the work and doing the things and setting the schedule, but also like discipline to just do things that are hard.
Yeah.
Like putting the phone down. And when I was quitting smoking not that long ago, that took so much discipline.
So crazy you just said that, because I'm thinking in my head, I was like, she just said something about she used to be a smoker.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask you about that.
Yeah.
How long has it been since you quit?
Not that long, to be honest. So
No,
I
me either.
probably smoked for about 5 years, pretty light.
Mm-hmm.
And it just, I mean, me and my stepmom always say that if we found out we were going to die in a year and there was nothing that could be done about it,
You'd smoke.
the first thing we do is start smoking.
I tell people
again.
that all the time. I'm like, it's bad to say, but because I went through, I smoked cigarettes probably from the time I was, 16 up until not too. I quit for the last time that I just quit this last time, because I quit multiple times. I quit at the beginning of this year. So I'm going a couple months, and every time I quit, usually I go cold turkey. Yeah. And I went with the vapes. I tried the vape because I was like, I'm just fucking trading one thing for the other. It's like, if I'm going to quit, I'm going to quit. And I tell people all the time, I'm like, I actually like cigarettes. Like, some people are like, I don't even really like them. I'm addicted. I'm like, I just liked them. Like, me too. And it people think it's gross, but I'm just like, and then I think I'm like, well, but I also like my teeth, and I like my mouth, and I like my lungs, and
exactly.
I'm like, all right, like, I quit smoking, like, I'll be able to run longer at the gym. And then it's like, all right, if I quit smoking, like, I'm not gonna have to worry about like going to the dentist and then being like, oh, like, what's this spot over here? You'd never know. But it's those thing, every guilty pleasure, right. Everybody's got that thing. And like I said, I don't judge. It's like, hey, if you want to smoke, hey, dude, smoke your lungs away. But that's another one of those reap what you sow down the road later on. People are wondering why they're like, and I had actually got severe. I had bronchitis, and after that, right after that, I had got COVID, and I was on I had like never had asthma. Never, like, and I smoked, but I was still active. Like, I could still go to the gym and run on the treadmill, whatever, still could play basketball. And when I had that bronchitis and that COVID, it fucked my lungs up. Like, I had to get on an inhaler. And I was like, what the fuck? I would wake up in the morning and, like, have this, like, wheezing in my chest. And it took a while because, the lungs are, they heal. And they rehab on there, as long as you're not abusing them. But I noticed, like, and that's what kind of made me too, like, want to quit, because I was thinking about quitting, but after that I was like, fuck it, I'm just gonna quit, because I don't want to feel like this anymore. So, and I noticed after, it didn't take long for me to notice, like, that when I used to, like, carry a piece of glass for work up these stairs, like, after we would go the first time, I would be, and now I'm like, and it's kind of like, all right, like, that's motivating, like, I kind of do want to smoke cigarette, and then I'm at work and someone else lights up a cigarette and I'm like, but then I'm like, you know what, I'm gonna be able to walk up those couple flights of stairs, and I'm not gonna be huffing and puffing. So
so you never have one? Or do you, every once in a while, do you, like,
I'm trying to think if I see, I had, and even like this last time that I quit, I haven't had one. And like, usually every other time that I quit, I would be like, go out. And that was another big thing that I did, was like, I would quit, I'd be like, all right, I'm not smoking cigarettes, and then I would be going out. And a big thing for me was I like to have cigarettes when I would go out. Go to the bar, drinking, have a drink. I would be like, I can't go out, like, to the bar and not have some cigarettes. Right. And then it would be like the next morning, I still have the cigarettes, and then I would just be like, finish that pack, and then that pack's out, and I'm like, oh, here I go. I'm back again,
I'm the same way. Driving is my biggest trigger, so even now, like, it's probably been about going on a year, which I will still have one every once in a while, which is crazy.
That's good. If you can,
I usually, I shouldn't. I'll get them from friends, but I'm at the point where I'm like, oh, this is kind of like when I'm halfway through, I'm like, I don't know if I can finish.
Yeah.
You know? 'Cause
Yeah.
it's like, I just want like a puff or two, honestly, or something. But yeah, I forget where I was going with that. I feel like I was going to say something.
Talking about the cigarettes. You were talking about quitting them and how
driving.
you still have one in driving.
And so I keep like
That muscle
gum in my
memory,
car, and I know
gum is key.
Yeah, gum and mints.
Yeah.
Sunflower seeds, if you
A
like
lot
them.
of people say that. Yeah. Oh, I love sunflower seeds. They got so many good flavors.
Like ranch.
That's the
Like
thing.
ranch
Yeah. They got everything. They make fucking all that. They got chip flavors and all that shit. But yeah, no, definitely smoking cigarettes. A lot of it people say is the muscle memory. Like a lot of people, or like I know this one chick one time. She was like, "Yeah, I just like the feeling of like inhaling like the cigarette." I'm like, that's it's one way to look at it, but
yeah, and it's funny since we're kind of here talking about yoga and meditation. Like it is almost meditative for me smoking. Like when I was waking up to a really busy day, and I was having trouble getting motivated or like getting myself focused. It's like, okay, I'm gonna take some me time with 2 cigarettes on the porch.
Yep.
And recenter myself.
Yep.
So, I guess now instead of that, or if you're a smoker trying to quit and that resonates with you, maybe you can pick up a mindfulness practice or meditation practice while I'm out. But there is just something about, like, I'm going to take a little break. It can make a big room smaller, too, when you're at a party, step outside,
That's the thing, yeah. And back in the day, like us growing up, cigarettes used to be like, now it's the vapes. Like all the younger generation, they all smoke the vapes.
Yeah.
Back in the day, so it's like now that shit's kind of dying off. But when you were younger, it was like, oh, like a cigarette? Like, what's that about? Like, you see all the adults smoking. Like, I still remember when I first smoked a cigarette. Like, I remember the nicotine buzz that I got. And I was like, what is this? And after that, and at first, that's all it was. It was just, I'm just smoking cigarettes. Like, we're young.
Yeah.
It's cool,
Right.
you can get it. I can buy a pack of cigarettes. Yeah, it's cool. But and then it just turned into something like I was like, I needed my fucking pack of cigarettes. It's crazy. And the way that industry goes, man, it's like, I don't fucking understand it.
Right.
Like, people fucking, they got to fight to make like mushrooms legal. Right,
which they should be.
And then but they can sell cigarettes.
Oh, yeah.
And at first it was, now it's 21, but they were selling cigarettes to fucking 18-year-olds, basically still kids.
Yeah.
Like, you can't you can't do this, but here, go ahead and take this fucking pack of cigarettes.
Yeah, I mean, it's, cigarettes and alcohol have been around for a very long time. I don't know when mushrooms and marijuana came to be substances. I think, culture is ancient, way back.
They've been
have always
around,
had plants that they consumed for, mind-altering purposes. But I think, without going too deep down a rabbit hole, I have been thinking, because we're talking about health, we're talking about taking care of your body. I've been thinking about what things are legal and what things aren't. And I think that cigarettes and alcohol have just been around for so long. They've been legal for so long. We haven't had other substances, at least in our culture in the United States, that have been on the scene for that long. If you think about like when marijuana became big, or LSD, or mushrooms, so we might not just be used to them. But I do think there's a lot to be said that we have legalized these substances that make us sick, that make us angry, make us hurt other people, and then illegal, which of course, like any drug, I think can be hurtful to you in some way if you don't use it right or use it intentionally. And anything you smoke, including marijuana, can be damaging for your lungs. But we have banned substances like mushrooms and marijuana that are they make people pretty peaceful. Yeah. They open your mind. They expand your consciousness. They expand your sense of connectedness with other people. And what's legal is these ones that just pretty much make us feel bad. They make our bodies sick.
Yes.
So is this, institutions trying to capitalize on us getting sick down the line? Potentially. Something to think about.
Ding, 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 ding.
Yeah, I mean, I don't, it's such a...
Don't shoot the messenger.
Such a complicated topic.
It is.
Certainly. I don't think that, I don't really know how I feel about all that, but it's just something that I've been thinking about recently because there's so many therapies. There's like ketamine therapy now.
Yeah.
They're thinking about, or I've read about, MDMA therapy.
Oh, yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even fucking... They're probably they do so many experiments and shit and whatnot and tests and trials with all different types of shit. But it's nice to see it coming to light more in a way for people to use it in multiple beneficial ways. Like you said, they got ways to cure sicknesses, way to cure, people having anxiety, depression, insomnia, people that can't eat. There's a lot of different ways that they're finding out that, different drugs, like I said, because the word drug to me, it's just weird. I don't really like it because it's like, what is a drug?
Yeah, it's got a negative connotation.
Yeah, like the people, like I said, people say like acid and like shroom and weed. Like what's a drug? And then you got the real shit, like people actually make that's terrible, and then you got the shit that they make in a lab with coats on, scientists, and they're licensed by the government, but it still can be terrible.
Right.
So it's just like you said, that's a rabbit hole. And I've had a buddy actually on the podcast, and he is in the medical field, and he's still going to school right now. And we were talking, just about it, and there is incredible things and benefits to the modern medicine.
Oh, for sure.
The things that it done for you, but I don't think that the people should stray too far away from the holistic point of view.
Yeah, I'm not, I definitely would never put anyone down for using pharmaceuticals. I think that medicine shaming is really bad. I believe you have to have a combination, and it's just, it just goes so deep because, it's like, really, you come in presenting for symptoms with your doctor, and medical model is that the patient's sometimes not satisfied until they're prescribed something, Like, they've taken off work, they've spent money to come here. They don't want the doctor to say, oh, well, have you tried smoking marijuana, or have you tried changing your diet or something like that? Like,
no. I need something now.
I need a pill, and I've taken pills before, and they've been great, and I know lots of people that take pills. I also know people that, I've had coworkers and things like that, like selling each other Adderall and things like that. It's like, you don't, it's just a dangerous slippery slope when it comes to like taking pills that you aren't prescribed. And,
exactly. You don't know what's gonna happen. And you don't know, and you don't know what somebody's really giving you, Right,
yeah, especially when it comes to, like, someone you don't know, or if you're in, like, a party type situation.
And then nowadays, I mean, there's shit, it's like, that's why that shit is given to people from a doctor. Especially, I mean, they got all that shit going around nowadays, fentanyl and...
Oh, my gosh.
It's crazy. And because people are like, well, I'm trying to get these pills, whether it's Percocets or Xanax or all types of, and it's crazy though, because it's always intended to be good. That's how it always starts off, and it sucks because everything just gets abused. It's just how it works. But
and someone, I think the problem is like capitalism too. Again, not to go too deep, but like someone has anxiety. Like what they probably need is to see the doctor. Maybe they take some pharmaceuticals, but they also start doing yoga. They also start eating better. But it's like, can they afford yoga? Can they afford to eat better? Can they work, if they're stressed, can they work less? Probably not, because they have, bills to pay, rent, groceries, everything's going up. So it's hard to have self-care.
So great. That's why it's so important for people, especially younger people, to take advantage of like the less responsibilities that you have and the more chance that you have to like establish these routines and rituals in your life and figure out a little bit of this shit, like which direction you want to go, what's going to work best for you, and also try to establish somewhat of a, you know, security for yourself so that you can branch off and find your way, because it's very tough, especially nowadays with inflation and everything. And it's, you know, people, you want to tell people to be what they want to be, but you know, nowadays not everything is gonna fucking pay the bills. So it's like you got to be realistic.
Yeah.
Like me, I don't know if what I do, like I didn't grow up as a kid like, yeah, I'm gonna fucking be a glass guy. Like I'm blessed, I make a good living, but I'm like, whether it's podcasting or something, you know, training, you know, doing some martial arts shit like that, like people give up like on just like their passion project. They gotta find a way to incorporate, like, you know, doing things that still, you know, light a fire underneath you that you're passionate about. Also trying to find a way to make a living, like yoga, you know, something like you said, something that you're deep into, that you like, that brings you joy, and also you can find a way to still, you know, make a living off of it as well. So that's awesome. Kudos to you.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I have to do other things beyond yoga to, you know, pay all the bills. But it's nice to.
Because like you said, well, that's the thing nowadays. Shit.
Yeah.
It's not how it was back in the day.
Right. I know. I think of the last time I lived alone, I was in Nashville. My rent was $495.
Get out.
And it was a really small apartment.
Yeah, but still.
But yeah, you know, it was.
You can't find that.
Oh my gosh, that would be.
People pay now for a 1-bedroom apartment, you know, in Metro Detroit or whatever. $1,200, $1,100 for it's like, what? That's crazy.
Yeah, or that's low. Actually, I would say if you're living in, I don't know about
live downtown.
Yeah, I was thinking like the city. Yeah, you're looking at least like, you know, you're probably looking like 2,000.
Even we did construction right in downtown Royal Oak, and they did apartments there, and I'm like. Couple grand, some of these like this day. It's like, what? It's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I know.
For an apartment. You don't even got
just a place to live.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then you have to go give away so much of your life just to afford the place to live.
Well, that's why it's
like it can be very overwhelming.
It can. And finding something, like you said, whatever it is, to bring you back, kind of center you, help you find that peace of mind again. Because today's day and age, it's so easy to get wrapped up in everything. And I feel like a big part of it too is the social media and just everything that people see online. But yeah, there's plenty of different ways, man, for people to just stay healthy, stay active, stay getting after it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, whether it's you know, trying yoga or the gym or just taking a walk.
Yeah, for sure. An hour and 30. We've been rolling.
Yeah, we've been having some good talks.
I always like to ask the guests, do they want to keep going? Are you ready to wrap it? Did we touch a lot of good things? Yeah. Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on?
I feel like we did, you know.
Because I'm always down to keep going, but I'm always courtesy of the guests. I know people got, you know, plans.
Yeah,
things to do.
I was interested to hear. I feel like we didn't talk too much about meditation. I mean, we did touch on it a little bit, but
for sure.
I was interested to know if that's something you've been practicing, or you know, what. Are you doing yoga? Are you meditating?
So yoga is something that I want to get into. I don't know. I might be more into like the hot yoga, but I want to try it all. Like I want to just figure out like what it's about in the different stages. As far as meditation, that's something that I kind of just stumbled upon. myself, and I've always been an anxious person, kind of. Like, I mean, I don't have any, nothing that I know of, not like ADHD or ADD or anything, but I've always just been a person, got a lot of shit going on upstairs, and I'm busy, and it's easy for me to get scrambled, and so, like, I just started seeing different stuff about meditation and whatnot, and like, you know what, let me give this shit a try. Why not?
And how's it been going?
Honestly, it's good. It sucks because lately I've been so terrible at it. I haven't even been, like, in the morning, I haven't even been doing it like I should. And I usually, like I said, I was doing it every morning. Like, I would wake up, I wouldn't look at my phone. I was trying to, like, get up, not look at the phone, not get distracted by anything. And then I would, just get dark. If it was nice out, like in the summer, I'd like to go outside. And I would just lay the blanket out and sit on the grass. And I do... At first, I was doing, like, a guided meditation.
Oh, yeah, those are great.
So, they got I forgot what app it was called that I started off using. And it was just, like, even the first ones I started off, just, like, 30-second to a minute, guided meditation, practicing my breath work and whatnot. And ever since then, I just started, trying to go longer, trying to get a little bit better. 2 minutes, 5 minutes, going up. And like I said, it's tough. Trying to clear your mind, and then, like you said, after you're basically moving on from one thing to the next. So it's like, all right, clear your mind, focus on your breath, focus on feeling the sensations, you know what I mean? Control your breath. So but I feel like after I meditate, and then it's like I said, when I'm listening to the guided meditation and it gets done, and then namaste, and then the bell rings, I'm like, I open my eyes and I'm like, okay, it's gonna be a good day. I feel it. I feel the zen. And sometimes it sucks because, like, I wake up and I'm like, my mind I can't get there, and I sit down and it's a couple minutes and I'm just like, I'm supposed to be going for 5 minutes, but I'm like I just can't. I'm like, you know what, wrap it up.
Yeah, I have those days too, for sure, where I call it quits on the meditation. Like, not every time's gonna be perfect.
Yeah. How long? Well, like you said, you don't teach, specifically meditation, but you basically are teaching it while you're doing yoga.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, definitely.
How familiar are you with meditation? I mean, is it something that you do every day?
I don't meditate every day. I wish I did. I should get back into that space. Yeah. And I would like to, but I think there's a lot of reasons why I haven't. But it's definitely a goal of mine. But
so you previously used to, like, meditate every day?
I don't know if I would say every day, but I would do it a lot more often than I do now. With my mornings, I'm like getting up and eating and getting the dog out. Yeah. So I think just setting aside, and my schedule kind of changes from day to day. Yeah. So, I have a lot of excuses for why. So maybe I'll go home tonight, and maybe I'll make it a nighttime thing. For sure. Before bed. Yeah. So, yeah, maybe that's my small goal.
Even I had a buddy that was telling me, he's like, I had him come over, and he was like, I was meditating. I didn't have enough time to do it today. He's like, I was just doing it literally in the car. I'm like, shit, I don't know if I could do it in the car. I can barely even do it at home.
Well, was he driving?
I don't know. That's the thing. Like, how were you meditating, on the way over here?
Yeah, because, meditation, I think it can be, if he was the driver, just being aware of your breath, going in and out. I don't know if I would try to do anything like that while driving, because you do want to stay focused. Yeah. But yeah, like I was saying with my journal, where I was like, I meditated, it didn't work. Like, it can feel different, especially when you're starting. It may not feel like anything, but I usually come away from meditation with that sense of peacefulness that we described, because I do think that you tap into the collective, consciousness. You tap into source energy, the energy of creation. Yes. And it just feels, you feel wrapped up in, this good, wonderful thing that's out there.
For sure.
And if nothing else, if that's like too not your thing, not like a belief that you have a different set of beliefs, like just relaxing and just focusing on yourself for a little bit, I think is a good way to start your day.
Yeah.
Emptying things out, emptying the tank so that you can fill it with a purposeful day.
For sure.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, energy. That's a whole nother thing, too.
Mm-hmm.
It's so weird. Are you a spiritual person?
I am.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I've always, like, all right. I don't know. I grew up in a Christian family.
Mm-hmm.
Good, everybody believes in, and now I don't know what the hell I believe in.
Mm-hmm.
I just believe in a higher power.
Yeah.
And, but, and especially, I mean, not too long ago, my sister had passed away.
Oh, I'm so
and
sorry.
Thank you. But, it was crazy how that affected me in like a spiritual way. And, I was just like, man, like, now I look at everything in a different light. Mm-hmm. And it's so crazy because, like, you try to talk to anybody about, like, energy or spiritual stuff, and it's like, oh, dude, you're just a hippie or whatever. Like, no, people are like, no, it's not. Because everybody's got their strict beliefs.
Right.
But there's so many different ways that you can go with that. It's like, what do you know, like, what's real and what you trust, but energy and, like, what you feel. Now that's real, at least in my opinion.
Yeah.
You can't deny that.
Mm-hmm.
How big are you on that?
Like the energy of the world,
Yeah,
basically.
of the universe.
The universe. I mean, I'm 100%, down with that. Like, I was also raised, very loosely Catholic. And I lost my mother when I was 14.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear about that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
But after that, I started to question this religion.
Yeah.
And I think everyone losing a parent or sister or family member or not will potentially start to question religion when they reach a certain age. But I was like, man, it really doesn't make sense that, like, religion as laid out in this book, the Bible, like, would have turned my life into something like this, have made this happen to me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
so
like,
weird. It's weird.
Right. But then,
It is.
But there's something out there, like, I just can't deny it. And I feel it. I feel it, especially when I'm outside.
Yeah.
In nature, and I feel it when I'm meditating, when I'm doing yoga.
Yes.
I like reading tarot cards for myself. And
my cousin actually put me hip on those.
Yeah, they're great.
I was like, what is that? Mm-hmm. She was telling me about them, but
yeah, and that's sort of like universal messages, but yeah, there's just something out there, that's for sure.
The way that I feel, like you said, it's big with nature. Mm-hmm. Like the way that you can feel the universe almost with nature. Even like I said, I'm a big YouTube guy. Mm-hmm. I always just I pull YouTube up and then I just fucking one video and I'm like clicking, and it's all like shit. Yeah, like I'll be like, oh, that looks kind of cool, and was watching a bunch of different videos on Native Americans, and just it's so crazy like how in tune they were with nature, and like and
still are.
That's the thing, and they worshipped like the land and like Mother Nature, and like it's so crazy. Like over the periods of times, like shit, oh,
Do you get a cramp?
Leg cramp. Oh, that was terrible. That was terrible.
Oh, is it still there?
It's trying to come back.
Take your time.
Hold up, folks. Woo! That one was bad. Holy shit. I'm like, what the hell? I go to bed, I'm like, I wasn't going to say anything at first. That one took over. All right. That threw me off. All right, I was talking about the Native Americans, them being in tune with nature. But yeah, that's just so crazy, and like it makes you think, like, and I feel like a lot of it is preference. Like, what do you want to believe? What do you want to worship? And not so much of it being like force fed down your throat, and not that like I grew up in a household where it was like my parents, and I'm very blessed that I grew up in a house that was very non-judgmental and like my mom and dad were just very loving, and they just whatever their kids wanted to do or whatever they wanted to believe, like they loved them regardless. So that always made me like not worried to be judged, because even though like they might say like I just know that like all right, like the people I know that I love care about me, I care about them. So because it's you tell people when they're like when I was younger and I did think that I was a Christian and that I believed, and people would be like, yeah, I'm an atheist. I used to look like, what? You don't believe? Like, what is that? Like, dude, you're gonna go to hell. Like, and now I'm like if someone says they're an atheist, like whatever, whatever you want to believe in, or like I said, someone says they're a Muslim or they're a Christian. It's like me, I just think whatever you say you believe in, you should firmly believe it. I don't like the whole going with something like because it's the status quo. Yeah. Like, I'm not just going to say I'm a Christian or whatever and try to, like, just do it as, like, a good person persona. Like, yeah, I'm a person that got, like, are you just saying that, or are you really living, like, practice what you preach? So.
Yeah, I think it's
touchy.
It certainly is. Yeah, I think it's about what brings you comfort, what resonates with you. Yes. But I do think, without trying to say anything negative, I like my spirituality because it's something that doesn't have a lot of rules, and anyone could join in and feel welcome. So, I think that people should practice what they like, what brings them comfort, what resonates, but being inclusive, not using your beliefs to harm anybody, I think is important too. That's kind of my opinion on that.
Yeah, for sure. And to not be like, I just hate everybody's so fucking judgmental nowadays. It's like, who cares? Like I said, I'm like, whatever anybody, just the whole, like I said, just don't push your beliefs onto like other people. Letting people like be aware or like know like what you believe, I think that's completely fine. But
you mean as far as religion goes?
Yeah. Like you said though, it's just finding out and experimenting, and that's the problem too. A lot of people, they get brought up a certain way, and they're like, well, like, do I believe this, or do I just feel like I have to?
Right. Yeah. So, is my family pressuring me to?
Exactly.
Yeah. And I have friends that were raised a certain religion and they kind of strayed from it and then ended up coming back to it in a very big way. I think because it gave them guidance and comfort in life. And I think having those things is really good.
Yeah. And that's why I appreciate the fact that people do, get good morals, and they're good thing, they try to live by a good code. And my whole thing too was with that is like, you don't have to be a certain type of person or believe in a certain type of religion to be a good person. That was my whole thing. Like, my whole thing was, well, I don't know what I believe in, and I'm not just going to say I believe in this, like, but I know I'm a good person. I'm just going to do good because that's who I want to be. Yeah. Not like, oh, I got to say it. It's like, so I just feel like believe in what you want, not what you're told to believe in.
Yeah, questions.
So, yeah.
Find
ask questions, yes.
Yeah, find what feels, find what makes you feel connected to something greater. Yeah. And it might be a book that's written down, a religious text, or it might be your own practice of, walking barefoot through the forest, or earthing, as they call it, taking in the earth energy. It could be swimming in the water, thinking about nature, or it could be just quiet worship in your own way. Like, maybe it doesn't have to do with nature, but it doesn't have to do with any of the religions that are out there. Yeah. Yeah. Nature is medicine in itself. I'm telling you. Sunshine. Yeah.
I tell my, like, when the sun comes out at work, like, and I'm outside.
Yeah, especially for us in Michigan. Yeah.
Like, and you just got the
So
t-shirt on. Yeah, it's healing. And even getting out, like I said, when I do meditate in the winter, obviously, I mean, I'm in the house, but in the summer, and the sun comes up a little bit earlier, it's nice. Like I said, when I get out there and I put my hands down next to me and I'm feeling the grass and I'm breathing, and I look up and I crack my eyes open and I see the sun and it's shining on me. Like you said, you can almost, I mean, people say whatever you want, but it's like you can almost communicate with the universe.
Right. Well, we are. Everything that the universe is made of and the grass is made of, like, we're made of that too.
Exactly.
You know, we're not different from the trees and the water in that way, and the
People
sun
don't
and the
know
other
that.
planets and the stars. You know, we're carbon-based life forms here, made up of what's out there, you know? So it's, that's where
it's all tied together.
It's all tied together.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's fucking, like you said. I mean, the life, all of it, it's just fucking one wild roller coaster ride.
I know. It really is.
I always say, I'm like, fuck, if I had like just a time machine and I could just go back and forth and just see like everything that's, you know what I mean? Because I want to know. I'm just too curious.
Just because we were talking about smoking earlier the other day, I was thinking, like, if I had a time machine, I would go back to, like, the 70s where you could just smoke everywhere.
Dude, literally.
And I would spend, like, 1 week there, and then I would come back.
You're in the fucking restaurant, just spark up. In the fucking elevator. Like, they were smoking in elevators, airplanes, restaurants. Didn't care.
Right. I know, I swear.
Fucking smoking in hospitals, dude.
I sound like I'm, like, a lifelong, you know.
Flat out, though.
But, like we said, you know, it's a nice feeling. But yeah, I was like, man, that'd be cool to just go. Because I remember when you could smoke in restaurants and smoking sections.
It's
but
crazy, yeah.
That was a long, long time ago.
It's so wild.
Right, like when you see on TV shows, like on the
It was a
the
wild time,
and
yeah.
trains, yeah. But
I
no,
just didn't give a fuck.
I would love to go to different timelines too, and different, or just different eras.
Yeah.
You know?
Even just like, I mean, modern day civilization, like, the way that it's just been ramped up so fast. Like, you just think about, like, the 1900s till now.
Right, yeah.
Let alone everything that happened before then.
Right, like 20 years ago, you know, was, like the 1920s, the Prohibition era, and just thinking about, like, the way people lived and the way they took care of themselves and technology.
That's what I say. Like, it's just going so fast.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even today, I mean, I'm like, this guy I work with, he's telling me about, you know, they're talking about Russia and China and, you know, the US dollar and all that shit. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck does it matter for me right now anyways, you know? I'm not anybody rich or anything like that, so if the Great Depression were to come right now or not, me worrying about it ain't gonna do nothing to me. But, like, when he was telling me about that, I'm just thinking, I don't even know, like, what the fuck, you know, like, what am I supposed to say when something like that happens, you know?
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, there's certain things that you can control and certain things that you can't. And I think that just steering away from that shit, you know what I mean? It's just, it's better for your mind state at the end of the day. So.
Yeah, you mean as far as, like, paying attention to the news and what's going on?
Yeah.
I think it's good to be informed.
For sure.
But, right, like with the 24-hour news cycle and Instagram and every app where you can get the news,
it's like all in your face.
Unplug.
You
know?
For sure.
Yeah, it's important to have time away from all the stimulation.
The quick dopamine fix.
From that you get, yeah, you really do. I think they say you get, you know, those happy chemicals from, but it's sort of, you know, it is sort of like smoking a cigarette or cracking a beer. It's like it feels good at first when you open your phone, and then when you're done with it, you're like, I probably shouldn't have done that because now I don't feel like my head will hurt with the phone, or like you smoke the full cigarette and you're like, oh, my stomach hurts now. Like, yeah.
But everybody, and that's the thing, like, live your life, though. You know, try new things. Don't be fucking scared. It's like, if you have a cigarette or whatever, like I said, it's not going to kill you. But just learning, like I said, discipline. And then knowing, like, when it's not good for you anymore, it's not serving you anymore.
Yeah.
You just got to put the shit down.
Yeah, listen to your body. Listen to how you feel. Yeah, you know, like, yoga should be a practice.
Listen to the universe.
Yeah, listen to the universe,
Yeah.
right? Like, they say take your yoga practice home, live it outside of the studio. And, you know, I'm clearly not perfect with that. I'm always checking in with my body. I'm always asking what feels right, but I'm also doing things that aren't, you know, perfect. So, like, yeah, it's just progress, not perfection. No one's
flat
perfect.
out, yes.
And yeah, like, when you're younger, go have a little fun, be safe.
Exactly. Well, that's what
Try some stuff.
I wouldn't have never got to this point in my life, like, if I wouldn't have been a journeyer.
Yeah.
Like, there's people that, you know, aren't really like that, and they try to, you know, play it safe, and that's fine, but I feel like just life is just too precious to just be like a floater.
Yeah.
Like, I fucking have been on so many different paths in my life, like, from being, all right, I'm gonna be that, I'm gonna be that, I'm gonna do this. Nope, that's not working out. Total 360s, and it's put me in this spot now, but I wouldn't change any of it. So getting out there and just experiencing life, it's the only way you're gonna fucking learn it. And even then, shit, you never learn it. Anybody that's old enough will probably tell you that.
Yeah, you know, like, you think you know a lot, but you don't. And like, you could learn forever. Same with yoga, you can practice forever, and, you know, it'll be different every day. You'll learn something every day, just like with life. But no, I agree. Like, I've had a lot of different paths myself too. I've done a lot of things where I look back and I'm like, why did I do that?
You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. Even not too long ago, like, and that's why same. I love. I always tell people, like, you can change whenever. You can do whenever you want. Like, people put limitations on, like, when they can do shit and who they're gonna be and when they're gonna choose to change. It's like, just because you fucked up in the past, or you did some shit that you regret, or you were someone that you don't want to be, it's like, wake up the next day and just fucking change.
Exactly.
Whatever it is.
You can start tonight, you can start tomorrow. It doesn't have to be, you know, oh, it's my birthday or it's the new year. It's like, I just don't want to feel this way anymore. And that's, you know, what we've been saying as far as your habits. What are you eating? What are you drinking? What are you smoking on? Like, it's also, who are you? Does that feel right? Does it sit right with you? Yeah. The kind of person that you are.
Finding out who you are, it's a big thing.
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm telling you, I'm like the way that the journey people go through, like, and a lot of people go through this world just being lost, and it's tough, you know, especially when you're pulled in all different types of directions, and you see other people living their lives in different ways, and you're not even sure about how you should be or how you want to live yours. Yeah. So.
Yeah, it's, you know, I think everyone's right on time, though. I do think we're always where we're supposed to be. Yes. With the people we're supposed to be with. Fate, I believe in fate, but I do also believe in free will. You know, you can't just sit around and say, oh, well, in 5 years if I'm always where I'm meant to be, I'll just wait around. Exactly. And I'll get where I'm supposed to be. Like, you do have to put the work in. Like, that way of thinking is incorrect. You gotta get after it. Like, yeah.
And then it'll fall, though. Like you said, being present, and then not so much forcing, but like you said, still taking initiative. Because I was always, like I tell people all the time, one of the things with me is, I grew up, my parents split earlier, and I was a single mom, you know, with my sisters. My mom worked hard, and we still, you know, we didn't have a lot, you know, we were taken care of, but I mean, we, you know, food stamps and free lunch, and I grew up like just, I started working early, like 16, and ever since then I had a job, and all I knew was just like, I gotta make money. Gotta make money, gotta pay the bills. And even like got in young 20s, still like that's all I cared about, was just as much money as I can make it. So, and now I'm to the point to where I'm like, what is like, how important is money? Like, I need money. I know I need money, but you gotta truly like tell yourself, like, how much do I value this money? Am I gonna let it take away from like my morals and like who I am as a person in order to acquire it, and to just, am I gonna let it take over, or am I gonna know that it's just money at the end of the day?
Yeah,
it comes and goes,
right?
But who you are and what you stand for, that's really the shit that matters.
Yeah, for sure. So, again, it's hard because, you do need money to live, and you need a lot of money these days. So it's good to be, good to earn it. It's good to make it. We can't always have a job that perfectly aligns with who we want to be potentially. But yeah, you're right. Like, don't, work 60 hours a week when you can get by with less. Go see your family. Go see your friends. Yes. Don't do something that's really not you. You don't have to take this fancy career path necessarily. Money is important. We need it, but it's not the most important thing. And you can't take it with you, when you go. I guess you can leave it to other people, but
yeah, exactly. But like they say, you can't put it in the casket. So
yeah, you don't want to be the richest corpse in the graveyard.
It ain't gonna do no good.
So yeah, go travel.
Yeah,
go have some fun.
For sure.
Go out there.
Yeah, live life, have fun. Find yourself, experiment.
Yeah, and
you never know what's gonna take you. Hard work, determination. And then just trying out new things.
Yeah.
And following your passions and your dream. Like and like you said, being present. And a lot of that ties in with the yoga and the meditation and the breath work, because that helps bring you back to being present. And when you're not so focused on, what's going to happen next.
Right.
That was another big thing with me with being anxious all the time, and my anxiety is I was always thinking of like what was like the outcome. And I always wanted to be a perfectionist, so I would be thinking like too hard about something, because I'm thinking so hard because I want it to come out perfect, that I'm so worried about like doing it right and not fucking it up, that it's holding me back.
Yeah. To
where I gotta just be like, who cares? You might fuck up, it might not go right, but that's how it goes. Yeah. Then if that happens, you learn from it.
Right, that's something to deal with in the future. If you're thinking about, how is this going to turn out, what's going to happen. I've heard the expression, you can only breathe in the present moment. So when you tune in with your breath, you can't think about the past. You can't think about the future. If you really just tune in to that inhale and exhale, I'll tell my students, like, you might have thoughts come up. And sometimes I even visualize, like, your thought as a little person, and you just put your hand behind that little person's back and just, say like, hey, thanks for coming to visit, but you have to go home now. You have to go somewhere else right now. But it's also okay to have, whatever thought you're having, we're not banishing them.
Yeah.
Because memories could come up, or worries about the future. And those can be good, for certain reasons. But yeah, like, if you want to think about present moment awareness.
Yeah, so they say you're supposed to let your thoughts like come through and process them and then let them go.
Well,
instead of just trying to like block them out. Okay.
I mean, with yoga and meditation, if you're having like thoughts that you feel like you really need to work through, things like journaling, therapy, I think are really good ways to help you. When you're thinking about meditation and yoga, where, it's sort of like this work you're doing, but it might not be the space where you necessarily want to think about, like, if a trauma comes up or something, you don't necessarily, I'm trying to think like how to phrase this, but the goal of meditation is that you're not noticing your thoughts. You're not aware of them.
Okay.
So if something like painful is coming up, you don't want to sit there and like think through it, you know, and like remember necessarily, like
almost relive.
Right, you don't necessarily, like, it can be a safe space to relive things, and I've had ending meditations where I've just been crying thinking about my past. So I guess I shouldn't say like that you don't want to do that or you don't want to work through the pain or the trauma, because it could be the right time for you to do that. When you are talking about like the path of yoga and meditation, you are thinking about getting to a space where you're not present with your thoughts. You're not aware of them. You're only aware of yourself and what you're doing in this meditative state.
Wow.
But I do I do want to be clear, you know, like if a yoga class feels like a safe place for you to process something, I think that's great.
Yeah.
As well. So, you know, you're not going to reach a perfect meditative state every time you go for it or in every yoga class. So if you want to, you know, people cry all the time in yoga. I cry all the time in yoga because you might just want to live with that thought.
And you're getting something out of that.
Right. Like it could be like a mini therapy session that you do with yourself in that moment. But a cue that I often give my students is to, if you have thoughts that are coming up, you know, you can say hello to them and then just guide them away, exhale them away. Because if you're trying to focus on your practice, you know, that's what you want to focus on as opposed to like any troubles, any thoughts.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
You schooled it.
Oh,
yeah.
Thanks.
It's been good. It's been good. We've been going. We're at 2:10 now.
Yeah. Is it time?
We can keep going. We touched. I mean, we whacked my list right out of the park. So, actually, I did want to talk to you about. You had mentioned. What is it? Reiki?
Oh, yeah. Reiki.
Yeah. Reiki. What is that?
So, honestly, I don't know a lot about it. It's something that I currently feel drawn to study, but it's energy work. Okay. Yeah, so it's working with, like, the energetic layers of someone's body that surround, like, surround and are inside of the physical form. Nice. And I don't know exactly what's behind it. Yeah. Yeah.
How did you discover that?
I have known people that have studied it. I've never received it myself. I have received other kinds of energy work. So.
Really?
Yeah, I've been more curious, you know, about exploring.
Like what kinds of energy work?
I don't know what it was, like if there was a name for it.
Was this in Michigan or Tennessee?
It was actually, so I've had it in a couple different places. I'm thinking of one particular time with a girl that I met when I was in Washington State, and she did like a very, I wish I knew what it was. I think it was sort of a practice that was unique to her, something that she had developed. Yeah. But yeah, just working with people's energies. Yeah. That's pretty badass. Yeah.
You talked about future, you were thinking about getting into being a masseuse?
I'm thinking about massage therapy.
I've been talking about needing a killer massage so bad.
Yeah, it's great. Self-care.
It's so great. It's so great. Or even chiropractics. Yeah. Like, that's something that's huge. Like, people, I mean, that helps out so much with people stiffening of muscles and them being sore and whatnot. Like, I got so much tension in my back. I'm like, I already know that, like, if I were to go to the chiropractor, they're going to crack the shit out of my back.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people don't believe in, like, chiropractic, and they think of it as kind of like...
Like a scam?
Yeah.
That's so weird. Yeah. Massage therapy, though, masseuses, they make good money. It's a pretty, people would be surprised to actually see, like, how much money they make.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I want to try to do it full time or if it's something that I want to, just learn to like do with friends and family.
Yeah.
But I think one day I would like my career sort of to just be having a lot of different like healing modalities that I've studied.
You could open up a whole like spa.
Yeah, a spa. I'm drawn to like Western
Incorporated
medicine
with everything.
too. Yeah, I'm drawn to like healthcare work, and I've done caregiving. But yeah, it could be great to like join in on a like a wellness center or something like that one day. So again, like we were saying, I don't know.
You never know.
I don't know what I want to be when I grow up.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
Trying to find what,
like you said,
feels good.
You just gotta go with it, man. Go with your gut and just chase your dreams.
Yeah.
And then wherever you end up, wherever you end up, like you said, is where you're supposed to be.
Yeah, really listen to, like, that is one piece of advice if I could give myself 20 years ago. Just listen to yourself and do what you want to do. Mm-hmm. Like, that, and that's basically it. It's like I've done all these careers sort of at random, and now I'm circling back in my 30s. I'm circling back to things that I've been interested in since I was a child.
Yo.
And it's like, okay, wow, I should have just.
But that's awesome though that you didn't. You circled back to it. Right. Because some people don't have the courage to circle back to it.
Yeah,
and it's a lot, and it's intimidating. Mm-hmm. They're like, oh well, and I hate that, like the whole like age limit, like shit, like oh I gotta by this age I gotta be buying a house, and by this age I gotta be married, and the whole like. That's all bullshit. Yeah,
so you're starting to get there in your mid-20s. Yeah, like...
Because that's the thing. I'm like, well... Like, you see how everybody else is living, and then you have, your friends and your peers that are in certain stages. But I'm like you said, everyone's where they're supposed to be. Like, just because that person's got that going on doesn't mean you need to have that going on. Like you said, doing what feels right.
Yeah, do what feels right, do what feels good. And, we've talked about money too. Like, sometimes you can't always right now go follow that dream.
Yeah.
But there might be a time where you can circle back to it, or maybe you can
whatever time you have.
Yeah.
That's the thing, like you said. Whether you might be trying to be an author and you're trying to write a book. It's like... Fucking, you might say you have no time throughout the day to do anything, to sit down and to put in the work. But like you said, if you check on your fucking phone how much screen time you're putting in, you know that that's your time right there to put in towards doing that, or whatever it is, whatever craft that you might be wanting to do. But
just even
don't get caught up in like the responsibilities of like, handle your responsibilities, but don't let it overtake.
Right. Don't feel like you need to, have your house paid off and work a job you hate. Like, you can have a plan to have your house paid off a little bit later, maybe.
Yeah.
And maybe earn a little less. It's
And taking chances, that's the thing. You have to take chances. Yeah. Especially nowadays, or you will not make it.
Yeah, and life is short too, and like it's as much as you can, it's best to do what you want, and it's best to do what you want now, because you'll just enjoy it. Like, you could enjoy it when you retire too, but don't put off those goals until you retire, because as you and I have seen, like through losing people we're close to, that isn't guaranteed.
No. And then that's I hate that. Like, you're supposed to work to the bone and then like get old and then enjoy a couple years.
No, just
there's a way for everybody, but you got to be creative, you got to be innovative, and you got to have some drive. You got to have some discipline.
Right, just
people will be surprised how far that could take them to figuring it out. Yeah,
even if it's just an hour a day or something where you could be on your phone, or a couple hours a week to start working on something that you really love. Yeah, or get up earlier. That's something that I've been trying to do. It's really hard.
I hate it.
Get up earlier and work on it.
I hate it. That's the thing. I hate it, and I do it. Especially when I go to the gym in the morning. I wake up at 3:00.
Oh my god.
So it's
okay, wow. So
yeah, I gotta go to bed at I try to go to bed at 9 to 10, because if I can get that 6, maybe 5, I'll be good. I really want at least 6 7 would be great. But if I'm going to the gym in the morning, I know that I'll probably only be getting like 6 hours of sleep. But
oh my gosh.
that shit goes off at 3 o'clock. If I got enough sleep, it's not as bad. But when I'm not, I'm like, fuck.
Oh, wow.
I'm looking at it like, you don't have to go.
Mm-hmm.
You can just fucking...
You can just go back to sleep.
Yeah. So that's why I tried to set it on the dresser. That way I got to get my ass out of the bed. And then I'm like, all right, shut the light on. And then that way I got to, all right, my eyes go straight to the sink. All right, wash your face a little bit. Get ready, you know.
Yeah.
Because it's tough. But like you said, doing those things that you don't like to do. That's important.
Yeah.
The tough things.
There's an expression, too, in yoga that the pose you don't want to do is the one you should do.
Yup.
The one that you tell yourself, I can't, or it's gonna, I'm not going to like it. I can't do it. It's too hard. Yeah.
That's calling your name. Exactly.
Right. It's asking
doing the
you
hard shit
to push yourself. And yoga's not about pushing yourself necessarily like into the pose. But yeah, it is about confronting maybe why you don't want to do that. Yeah. Just
that demon.
Yeah. Just give it a shot.
Know?
Yeah. Give it a go.
You know that you almost like telling you like, yeah, just if I can toughen up. Step into that.
Yeah, in a way, yeah. Like, just, just do it and find a way to do it if it's your dream.
Yeah.
Like, believe in yourself to the point where it seems almost, like, crazy. Well, crazy is the wrong word. I don't like to use that word. But just, just believe in your dreams, no matter how out there they might seem.
Yes.
Or if they don't seem to make sense to anybody else, if they make sense to you.
That's another problem. People are worried about, when I started the podcast, that was like, I'm like, well, people could potentially like be like, yeah, that's kind of dorky. And I'm like, well, who cares?
Right.
Like, the older I get, when I was younger, and you want to be cool and shit and you want to be liked, it's like you start to care, but once you start to not like give a fuck what people think about you, you're so much more carefree. Oh yeah,
wait till you hit your 30s.
That's what I'm especially when I'm not even gonna be like talking to anything. I'm like, what? Who said what? I don't even know that guy.
Yeah, right. And I've heard it continues as you get older and older.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's still hard.
Yeah.
Like it's still, I do care what people think.
For sure.
I mean, to an extent.
Yeah.
Like I don't ever want to like hurt anybody.
No.
And I take people's feedback. It's not like I don't listen to anybody or think I know everything, but it's also like, I don't, when I was in my teacher training, my teacher said, what other people think of you is none of your business.
Yeah.
So.
That's good.
I mean, we want to know. But it really isn't.
No.
Yeah, it's not. It's because all it is a reflection of their own life and their own opinions and where they are. It actually has nothing to do with you. So
and that goes back to what we were saying about knowing yourself. Like when you truly know yourself and know who you are. And once I figured that out, because I mean, I went through tons of journeys, like I said, growing up, and being this and trying to be liked and figuring out what I wanted to do. And once I started to find myself and like find what I enjoy and find my tribe, like the people that I know that I want to be around and the people that I love, like I was like, all that other bullshit doesn't even matter. And like the people that do matter, you keep them close to you. And it's okay. I've always been a likable person, and like I get along with everybody. So it's like it's tough because you get along with everybody and you want to be friends with everybody, you know what I mean? But at the same time, I can't, like, I got shit to do. Like I can't be like with everybody and around everybody. But it's a blessing and a curse, but
yeah,
you just got to make sure that the people that actually like really care about you and support you, those are the ones you got to make sure that you're tending to.
Yeah, exactly.
And keeping those relationships in contact.
Yeah, and people start to fall away naturally as you age.
Oh, yeah.
You'll cultivate some connections, and some friends will just, you'll become more distant from them, and that's natural.
And some people take it worse, than I'm terrible at the fucking phone. Like, I'm terrible with it.
Yeah.
Like, I send a text, and then I might not reply for a little while. Same thing with, like, a call.
Yeah, that's good. Really, it's good. It goes back to what we were saying at the beginning, like, the pressure to respond quick can be just so much, It's nice to be unreachable.
And I say that, I'm like, heaven forbid, like, if it's an emergency,
Right.
I always say I'm going to be
the
there,
thing.
for the people that I care about. But I'm like I said, it's sometimes and I'm a very introverted person. Like, I'm all right by myself. Like, I can literally do everything by myself. And I'd be okay. But, you got to make sure that you're still communicating, telling the people that you love them, making sure that they know. And plus, because you never know what other people are going through. So being able to stay in contact and up to date, check in on your people, make sure that they're all right. That's huge.
Oh, yeah.
It's important.
Absolutely.
Especially nowadays, with everything. You never know what someone's mental state is.
Right. You never know who needs
just
just
the
like
conversation
that reach out.
sometimes can help. That's why sometimes it sucks. I'm like, I missed that person's call. And I'm like, you never know. They might have needed you when they called. But at the same time, you can't beat yourself up, know.
Yeah, if you need time to unplug or put your phone in a drawer for a little bit,
And a lot of people understand that. I almost feel like it's kind of more of the selfish people that are like, that don't, less understanding of it. Like, I've always been like the type of person, like, if I call someone and they don't answer, like, I get it because I'm the same way.
Yeah,
so it's
me
like,
too.
I'm not even mad about it. But like, some people, like, they call you and you don't answer, and they're like, serious? And then you call them back and they're like, oh, now you call me?
Right.
Or you didn't know the answer. It's like, well, it's like, dude, I was busy.
Yeah, people need space, and it can be good to even ask your friends, like, hey, I have a lot of stuff I'm working through. Like, do you feel like you can help me with that right now?
Yeah.
Like, I had a friend the other day who wanted to talk, and I was like, I don't feel like I want to get on the phone right now. So can we talk tomorrow? And, we're really good friends. And she was like, of course, we'll talk tomorrow. But, like, working with people's boundaries.
And that's awesome when people are understanding. Like I said, it's a maturity thing,
Yeah.
And when some people, when they're going through something, they want you to be there, like, at that exact moment. But you got to realize, too, when you're going through something, you're just thinking about what you're going through. You have to think about, like, the other person.
Yeah.
And how they're looking at the situation. And you start to look at it from both perspectives. You're a little bit more selfless about the whole situation.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, keep those friends close. That's important. Community is so important.
For sure. Community, and then I like the word tribe. I'm a firm believer in. I mean, I'm a huge family man. I come from a close family, so, and I mean, especially nowadays, you just, like, it's hard to find people that are genuine good people that care about you. So
yeah, it can be hard. Yeah. I've been lucky to have some good connections throughout my life, but it's
and to keep them, like you said, with everything with people's lives that go on, new jobs and new home and new opportunities, and people come and go out of your life.
Yeah, but it is hard to meet people, and especially like, there's still a culture of like working from home and doing so many things online, like sometimes it's, when you watch like an old TV show like Friends or something, and you see how, I wonder like how they are always approaching women like in the coffee shop. And I'm like, was that really how it was when you were that age in the 90s? Because I'm like, people don't do that really anymore. Like, was that
crazy.
Was it just like a plot point for the show? Or what? But like, I feel like it probably happened more often back then before
Times
there was
changed.
the option of
I said that
meeting
it's
people
so
online.
fucked up because like my grandma, hammers me,
The
about
snack
being
lady.
single, yeah. And I'm like, she's like, why don't you try the online dating? And both of my sisters met their boyfriends on online dating, and I'm like, it's just not my thing, like,
Yeah.
already, like, the whole sliding in people's DMs is like one thing. It's like the whole arranged dating online.
Yeah.
I'd rather do like more old school, what's wrong with going out and meet? And today, it's, first off, you got a lot of fucking weirdos out there. So it's like, I understand, like, some chicks, dude, you got to be fucking weary, people coming up, but it's like, it sucks too, because then they ruin it for the good guy, It's like back in the day, that's how it went, a guy would go up to a girl and ask her if she wanted a drink, and it wasn't like weird. It's like nowadays, it's like stranger danger. You got to be fucking worried though, because like you never know, and it's a damn shame.
Yeah, I'm old enough to remember when I was first going out to the bars, like lots of men would, offer to buy me drinks, my friends drinks, and I think they still would if I was going out more often. But I feel like it is like a more of a culture of like, if someone approaches you nowadays, you're like, what are you doing? Like, or when someone calls you, or like if someone knocks on my door, I'm like, what are you doing? Like, who are you? Like, anyone that would be at my door that I would want to open the door for would probably call and be like, hey, I'm outside your apartment. Like, it's just like, it is like when you get that weird phone call, it's like, whereas back in the day, it was more like, oh yeah, like someone's at the door. That's how you would go to your friend's door and be like, let's go bike riding.
Exactly.
Yeah, different times.
Yeah,
but
the technology takes away from a lot of that too. Like the face-to-face interaction and the communication.
Yeah.
It kills that. The technology. I mean, talking over the phone is one thing, but I mean, especially like the texting and the shit like that. And then like people don't even know how to talk. To other, like, face to face and in person. Yeah,
I have both my best friend and I are doing online dating right now, and we're like talk to each other about how it's going. I'm like, man, it's so like, we just, because of course we're old enough to remember like dating. This is my first time online dating ever in my life. Yeah, and I'm like, this is so weird. Like, I've been in a lot of long relationships, and I've seen my friends' profiles and swiped with them, and now that I'm doing it, I'm like, that's a bummer in a lot of ways, but I want to meet someone.
There's people that meet, like, my grandparents met online, and they're married. Oh, wow. Yeah, great. And like I said, both of my sisters, like, met people, and plenty of people meet people online, and they get married, and they're happily,
Same. I have tons of friends that have several children with someone they met online, and my friend said something to me once, and she was like, it's like going to the bar. Like, some people are there to meet for relationships, some people aren't there to meet anyone really. Like, some are just kind of jerks, some just want to hook up. And I was like, oh, I guess you're right. Like, there used to be such a stigma around it, like, we met on Match.com. Exactly. But now it's like, it's almost like if you met somewhere else, it's like, whoa, I know. Lucky.
And I'm also kind of, I don't know, I'm kind of like a hopeless, like, romantic. Like, I think, like, I don't want it to be forced, you know, like, or my grandma's like sending me like pictures of these chicks.
Is she on like a dating site for you?
What do you think? Well, the thing is too.
Who are these girls though? Is she like on?
Probably like granddaughters of like her friends and stuff like that, and I'm like,
I was hoping she had created like a dating profile for you and was like trying to hook you up with
then
someone.
I'm like, dude, like, I just like maybe like, fate, like whatever happens at. And the thing is, like, I feel like once you date and you go through a couple relationships and they don't work out, you're like, I don't feel like fucking restarting all this shit all over right now. Like, and then having it, I feel like the less you force it and the more it just comes naturally. Like, I feel like the odds of it lasting are going to be better.
Yeah, I mean,
everything's going to glue together, like I said, a little bit more naturally, and it's not like, oh, yeah, like, we're both just single and we really want, like, to be with somebody. Like, I've always said that, like, I'm not going to date someone, like, if, like, I'm not crazy about them. Like, I feel like it's how it should be. You know?
Yeah, I think so too. I think,
People settle a lot nowadays.
Yeah, I think, that's an interesting topic too, because sometimes you might, I don't know. I have more I could say about that, but I'm kind of the same way where I'm like, yeah, I'm looking for that like really special connection, and I think it can happen. But I do think it can happen.
For sure.
Online, it just feels a little bit weirder, but it's always great. Like I did meet one guy just out, and we had a date, and I was like, oh, this is nice. It just reminds me of how I've always met people, and it just felt really natural.
Yeah.
So it was like he came up to me in a crowd of people.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
can I get your number? Yeah, talk to you.
Yeah, like we talked, and exchanged numbers and had a date. But yeah, I have met some really nice people online dating though too. So
well, that's what I said. You never know. I'm also the type of guy that's like I said, as well as like not putting timelines and shit like that. Like I don't put anything on. You never know when you're gonna meet that special someone.
And you're so young. Like I wouldn't. Yeah.
That's why. Yeah. No, I'm not even. That's why. Like I say too. I'm like, dude, I'm so fucking busy. I got so much shit going on. It's like, anytime I do like maybe like think about like maybe talk to someone for a little bit. It's like, then I feel like I'm like a piece of shit because I'm like not even like there. Like because I'm busy.
Yeah.
But it's like too like I'm trying to like I'm feel like. You never know. Like, if I were to be married right now or, like, have a kid and, like, settle down, if that was the life that I was living right now, I'd be cool with that. Like, I got friends that are settling down, and I'm just like, that must not be what's for me right now.
Yeah. That's
I think
fine.
maybe, yeah.
Yeah, it'll like you were saying, I think it'll work better when you're ready for it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I also say, too, I'm like, shit, like, it's crazy to me when I see people that are, like, older, and they're like, yeah, we've been together since we were 18, like high school sweethearts. And I'm like, I've changed so much from who I was, even just the last couple of years. Like, I don't know if I would have been able to be with someone for that long, because plus too, like, my opinions have, differed, and you grow, especially when you're still that young, and then you both start to grow, people grow apart, and it's
so
it's nice when you see those old couples and you appreciate it's like real, true, genuine love. And they've been together, because it's rare, especially nowadays. I mean, shit, divorce and all that's at all-time high. Nobody can stay together. People just have babies and shit, with each other. It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I've never lived through a parent's divorce, so I don't know, like, how difficult that can be on a child, but I do have, I know couples that have gotten divorced, and I think it's a really good thing.
Yeah.
So
it's better than, like, people staying, like,
together that hate each other.
Yeah. Like, oh, we're just gonna stay because we're here. Like, and it's gonna be better for both of us. It's like, fuck that. Like, I'm starting over. I'm not about to just stay here and fucking accept this. Like, nah.
Yeah.
I'm not fucking with it no more. I'm done. So, but the people just, and it's scary, but that's just how it is. Like, that's the game that you play. I always tell people that, like, whenever people, like, I always feel like I'm like a Dr. Phil, like, with my friends. Like, I'm always, and I'm the one that's single, but it's like, I'm always talking about, like, with my guy friends, like, about, their problems and shit like that and what's going on. And because I'm a very optimistic person, and I look at it and I try to tell him, like, I'm not always going to tell my boy, like, he's right. Like, dude, if you're fucking being an asshole, like, I'm just going to tell you how it is. Yeah. And, like, I can see it from both sides. Like, so my perspective is kind of like, I understand where he's coming from, and then I understand where she's coming from too. Yeah. It seems like you have a very positive personality. I can definitely see your friends coming to you to talk. Yeah. Or for help. Like fucking counseling.
Well, maybe that's something to consider for the future,
That's one of the things, like I said, I thought about it. Like, I could probably be a counselor. And then I'm like, but then there's times where I'm sitting there and I'm like, don't want to hear this shit anymore.
Right. Yeah.
Sometimes, like I said, it's a blessing and a curse. And then you don't always know what to tell people. I don't know. I don't fucking got all the right answers.
Well, if you're trained, you start to learn
For sure.
what to tell people.
For sure. But everybody's got to have those people in their life that they can learn from. That's the thing. I got my certain people that I take my wisdom from and I learn from. Very thankful for that.
Yeah, so. Me too, for sure.
Well, what do you think?
I think we've covered a lot that wasn't even on the agenda.
No way, it's fucking 10 o'clock.
Is it?
2 hours and 40 minutes.
Oh my gosh, wow.
That's good. Yeah, no, we did. We hit a lot of stuff too that wasn't even on the agenda.
Yeah.
Yeah, we went above and beyond.
Hey.
It's been good.
Yeah.
It was fun. I had a good time.
Yeah, me too.
I'm glad you came by.
Yeah, me too.
It was really cool. I learned a lot of stuff. Honestly, like I said, yoga is something that I've been telling everybody. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to start doing. I haven't fucking started doing it yet. So people are probably going to be ripping me. But especially meditation too. It's always been something that's intrigued me. And especially the more I've been becoming aware of, like, you know, self-care and just mental awareness and whatnot. I feel like those are key and they could help a lot of people out. And hopefully I'm hoping people, when they watch this, can, you know, show them and maybe they can learn a little bit of shit about it. And maybe you guys can, if you were motivated or had any questions about it, you know, maybe we checked off some of the stuff on your guys' list. I know I learned a hell of a lot. So, and it was cool. I mean, we knocked it out of the park. All the topics that we talked about. Like I said, this was a fun one because I've been anxious and I've been waiting. I talked to her when she came in. I was like, shit. Our first text was at the beginning of February, and we both been busy trying to get it scheduled. So I'm definitely glad that we ended up getting it scheduled. I had a really good time.
Me too. So, it's great to be here.
For sure. Any other messages for the people watching?
Yeah, I mean, what you were saying about self-care just now, like, I think if you do even small things to take care of yourself, 10-minute meditation, like, more will follow. Yeah. You know, like, if you're feeling like maybe you're not treating yourself the way you should, just start small.
For sure.
Do something, get a regular practice going.
Just to start. Like, you're starting small. Once you start, it's all that matters. Then the momentum train starts going and you fucking just start rolling. Yep. What about your classes? Do you want to, I mean, where do you teach classes?
Yeah, I teach at a studio called Full Lotus Yoga. Okay. It's in Detroit.
Because I'm going to need to know about that.
Yeah, come on down. It's in the New Center area. It's on Woodward and Milwaukee. Okay. On the corner. So it's by the train station. And yeah, I teach Sunday mornings at 11, a slow flow. So it is, you know, you're doing your flows a little bit longer holds, little bit less of a challenge than some other classes that we have. Yeah. But it is a good place to start. Right on. So if you or anyone listening wants to check it out, or any studio that's near you too, just look at their class descriptions or give them a call. Right on. If you're not sure where to start.
Awesome. Well, again, thanks for coming by. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
It was awesome. Thanks everybody for tuning in. I'm glad you guys came by, and I'll be